Welcome to a world where the impossible is ordinary. Here, strange beasts and monsters roam the uncharted wilds, waiting for someone brave enough or foolish enough to cross their paths and witness their terrifying beauty. He did it. Vast, secret treasure hoards and undiscovered wealth lie buried deep within the earth's crust. For those with a golden eye and a steady hand, these riches offer a life beyond their wildest dreams. Step into mystical places and unexplored frontiers that defy the laws of nature. From gravity-defying peaks to crystalline caves, the world's map still holds many blank spaces for a true pioneer to fill. The mysterious unknown. There is a potent magic in those words for those captivated by the spell of adventure. It is a siren call that lures the bold away from safety and into the great beyond. Our journey begins on Whale Island, a small, lush piece of land floating peacefully in the vast blue ocean. It looks tranquil, but for one young boy, this is just the starting line for a grand adventure. Deep within the heart of the island's forest, a hidden swamp hums with the vibrant energy of nature. The air is thick with the scent of pine and the promise of a legendary catch. Life moves quickly in the canopy. A clever lizard lashes out its tongue, snagging a fly in the blink of an eye. In this wilderness, only the sharpest and fastest survivors thrive. Perched high upon the sturdy branch of a giant tree, young Gon Freycises sits in perfect silence. Camouflaged by leaves, he waits patiently for a monster from the depths of the swamp to take the bait. Look at that focus. Gon's eyes are locked onto the water below, his breathing steady. He isn't just fishing, he's hunting. He won't leave until he fulfills the impossible task set before him. Suddenly, the line twitches. A ripple breaks the surface as something massive grabs hold. Gon feels the surge of power through his rod, and his small frame tenses for the fight of a lifetime. The bobber plunges deep into the murky blue. Whatever is on the other end is heavy, stubborn, and strong. This is no ordinary fish. This is the legendary master of the swamp. The tension is palpable as the rod bends to its breaking point. Gon isn't backing down. He's been preparing for this moment for years. The battle between boy and beast has finally truly begun. Arg! Gon grunts with the effort, his feet digging into the bark. He's pouring every ounce of his strength into the reel. It's a test of will, and Gon has plenty of it to spare. His pupils dilate as he sees a flash of red beneath the waves. The intensity in his gaze could cut through steel. He can feel it. The master is starting to tire, and the victory is close. With a sudden, explosive burst of energy, Gon heaves back. He uses his entire body as a lever, launching himself off the branch to provide the final, decisive pull needed to win the day. The water erupts as the massive creature is dragged toward the light. Ah, it's him! Gon cries out, his heart racing with adrenaline as he sees the sheer scale of the monster he's hooked. Easy! Easy! Gon whispers to himself, a triumphant grin spreading across his face. He's played it perfectly. Now all that's left is to bring this legendary beast home for all to see. Each! Gotcha! With a titanic splash, the master of the swamp is hauled into the air. Gon has done. He's caught the fish that 5 grown men couldn't land, proving his mettle to everyone. Tromp. Tromp. Gon marches through the village, proudly carrying his massive prize for all to see. The locals can hardly believe their Izamir boy has accomplished a feat of legendary proportions. The giant fish hits the ground with a heavy thud as the townspeople gather around in total shock. Ta-da! Gain exclaims, his chest puffing out with pride. The impossible has officially become reality. Aunt Mito watches from the crowd, her face a mask of disbelief and growing concern. She never expected Gon to actually succeed. Now, she's faced with a promise she desperately hoped he wouldn't keep. The villagers murmur in awe, calling it the master of the swamp. Some kid, that one, they whisper. They've seen 5 grown men fail where this little boy just succeeded with a bright smile. See, I caught him, just like I said I would. Gon beams, holding up his hunter exam application. Time to keep your end of the deal, Aunt Mito. There's no turning back now. Gon holds the hunter exam application card high, his eyes shining with hope. This piece of paper is his ticket to a new world and the first step toward finding the father he never knew. The card is ancient and filled with mysterious symbols, a testament to the weight of the journey ahead. For Gon, it isn't just an application, it's a sacred promise of adventure and discovery. Mito stares down at the card, her silence speaking volumes. She knows the dangers that await him, and the thought of losing him to the same life his father led breaks her heart. Go ahead, Mito. It's just an exam, the villagers encourage her. They see Gon's potential and believe he's got the stuff to be a swell hunter. They want to see the boy chase his dreams. Easy for you to say, Mito snaps back, her frustration boiling over. To her, this isn't just an exam, it's the moment her little boy begins his journey into a world that might never return him. Gon looks up at her with a knowing, gentle smile. Yeah, it's easy to say stuff, but meaning what you say, that's something else. Right, Aunt Mito? He's challenging her to be true to her word. Mito looks down at Gon, realizing he's no longer just a child she can protect. He's a young man with a resolve that mirrors his father's. The weight of his determination is undeniable. The moment of decision hangs in the air. Mito's gaze softens as she looks at the application in her hand. She realizes that trying to hold him back will only cause more pain than letting go. With a heavy sigh, she keeps her side of the bargain. She accepts the reality that Gon's destiny lies far beyond the shores of Whale Island, following the footsteps of the man who left him. As you like, Gon, Mito says quietly, surrendering to the inevitable. She watches him, her heart filled with a mixture of pride and profound sadness as the threshold to his new life opens wide. Okay, thanks. Gon cheers, his face lighting up like the sun. He tips his hat to her, filled with pure, unadulterated joy. The journey he's dreamed of is finally about to begin. Tromp, tromp, tromp. Gon sprints away, his energy overflowing as he rushes to prepare. He's a blur of green, leaving the village behind with the enthusiasm of someone who has just found their true purpose. Look at that happy face. Gon is a picture of pure excitement as he runs toward his future. Every step is a celebration of the freedom he's earned and the adventure that awaits him. Inside the quiet house, the shadows grow long. The echoes of Gon's laughter still linger in the hallways, but the space feels emptier than it ever has before. The house is waiting for a change. A photograph of Jingfree sits on the shelf, a silent witness to the cycle beginning again. Blood will tell is the unspoken truth that hangs in the air, connecting father and son. Mito hides her face in her hands, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Why this? Why him? She wonders. The pain of the past and the fear for the future are almost too much. Mito reflects on her choices, realizing that even her silence couldn't keep Don from his path. He never asked about his father, yet somehow, the call of the hunter life found him anyway. Grandma speaks gently, reminding Mito that Jing's life was never a secret. It was an inevitability. They always knew this day would come, for the blood of a hunter runs deep and true. One look at the gleam in Jing's eyes in that old photo says it all. He was a man who could not be stopped, and Gon carries that same unstoppable fire within his soul. Gon looks up at the vast open sky. He's known about his father for a long time, and the mystery of Jingfree CSS has been the North Star guiding his every step toward the horizon. Whoosh! Gon is a whirlwind of activity, training his body and sharpening his senses. He's running through the hills, his movements fluid and fast, preparing for the rigors of the hunter exam that lie ahead. By the tranquil riverside, Gon takes a moment to breathe and reflect. He's a child of the wild, and every part of the island has been his training ground for the challenges to come. Gon visits a mailbox, perhaps sending a final word before his departure. He's methodical and thoughtful, checking off every task on his list before he leaves his childhood home, forever behind him. He pauses, deep in thought, his hand to his chin. Even a boy as energetic as Gon has moments of quiet contemplation. He's considering the weight of the journey he's about to undertake. Tee-weet! A bird's call rings out through the trees, a familiar sound in Gon's ears. He listens intently, connected to the island's inhabitants in a way that few others could ever truly understand. Rustle! Rustle! Something big is moving in the thick brush. The leaves shake with a sudden intensity, and Gon tenses, his senses heightened as he prepares to face whatever is lurking in the shadows. Emerging from the greenery is a massive, fluffy fox bear. Its eyes glow with a strange light, and it looms over Gon, a powerful and ancient guardian of the Whale Island forest and its secrets. Whoosh! The fox bear pounces, but it's not an attack, it's a greeting. Gon is swept up in a playful tumble, showing the unique and deep bond he shares with the island's most formidable creatures. The fox bear lets out a playful roar as they wrestle on the grass. Gon laughs, his small hands buried in the thick fur. It's a moment of pure, wild joy between two friends. Later, they sit together by a crackling fire as Gon dries his clothes. The fox bear gnaws on a fish, a silent and comforting presence in the quiet of the night, watching over the boy. Gon looks at his hand, perhaps feeling the faint scars of past adventures. He's thinking of the lessons the forest has taught him, and the strength he's gained from living among its inhabitants. The fox bear enjoys its meal, its tail twitching contentedly. It's a peaceful scene, a reminder of the simple beauty of Whale Island that Gon will soon be leaving behind for the unknown world. Gon holds up his hunter license, the red card glowing in the firelight. It's his most prized possession and the key to his father's world. He's ready to prove he belongs among the elite. As he stares into the flames, memories of a fateful encounter from years ago begin to resurface. He remembers the man who first showed him what it truly means to be a real hunter. 3 years ago, Whale Island's forest was a much darker and more dangerous place for a young Gon. He was smaller then, and his curiosity often led him into the paths of peril. Ruler! A mother fox bear erupts from the darkness, her eyes red with territorial rage. She's a terrifying wall of fur and fangs, protecting her territory from the small intruder who dared to enter. Uck. Young Gon is thrown back, his clothes torn and his shoulder bleeding. He's paralyzed with fear, facing the raw, unfiltered fury of a mother beast who sees him only as a threat. A tiny fox bear cub watches from the safety of the tall grass, letting out a small mew. It's innocent and confused, unaware of the life and death struggle unfolding just a few feet away from it. The mother fox bear looms over Gon, her shadow engulfing him. She prepares for the final, lethal strike, and it seems like the young boy's journey might end before it has even truly begun. FWing. A sudden flash of steel cuts through the air. A mysterious man intervenes, his blade moving with a speed and precision that defies the human eye, standing between the boy and certain death. The beast roars in pain and shock as the stranger lands a decisive blow. Gon watches, wide-eyed and trembling, as his savior stands tall, a master of combat who has appeared from nowhere. The man stands over the fallen fox bear, his expression grim. He's dressed in travel-worn clothes and carries a long, elegant sword. He is a man of the world, a true professional in action. He explains the harsh reality of the wild. A fox bear with a cub is the most dangerous beast of all. It's a rotten shame, but any creature that tries to kill a human must die. He looks down at Gon, his gaze sharp and uncompromising. Can you stand up? He asks, his voice calm but authoritative. He's testing the boy's spirit as much as his physical health. With one swift, clean motion, the man delivers the finishing blow to the beast. It's a mercy and a necessity, carried out with the detached efficiency of someone who knows the natural order. Kite stands tall, his silhouette framed against the forest. He's a figure of immense power and knowledge, a stark contrast to the small, wounded boy who sits shivering at his feet in terror. Gon grunts, struggling to his feet. Yeah, he stammers, his voice shaky. He's in shock, but his innate resilience is already starting to push him back up, despite the pain and fear. The man turns his attention to the orphan cub, his expression softening just a fraction. He knows the difficult road that lies ahead for the small creature, now left alone in a harsh world. Whoop! Without warning, the man delivers a sharp blow to Gon's head. It's a physical lesson intended to wake the boy up to the gravity of the mistakes he's made today in the forest. Gon is sent tumbling back into the dirt, his eyes wide with surprise. He's confused and hurt, but the stranger isn't finished with his harsh scolding of the young, inexperienced island boy. Moron, imbecile, the man bellows, his face a mask of fury. Don't you know better than to wander around a snake beach forest this time of year? He's trying to drill survival instincts into Gon. He points to a deep scratch on a nearby tree. Look there, the territorial mark of a fox bear with a cub. They're everywhere. He's showing Gon the signs he completely ignored before. Didn't your father bother to teach you anything? He demands. The question hits Gon hard, reminding him of the void in his life where a father's guidance should have been all along. The man laments the pointless kill he was forced to make. He respects nature and hates that Gon's ignorance led to the death of a mother beast just protecting her young from a threat. My dad is gone. My mom too? Gon says quietly, his head bowed. It's a simple, painful truth that stops the man's anger in its tracks, replacing it with a sudden, somber understanding. Gon explains the accident that took them after he was born, and how he lives with his Aunt Mito. He's a boy who has grown up without knowing the man he's named after. The man's demeanor shifts. He reaches into his bag and tosses Gon some antiseptic. Here, use it, he says, his voice now tinged with a reluctant kind of care for the orphaned boy. From the bushes, the tiny cub lets out another heartbreaking mew. It's a reminder of the collateral damage of Gon's mistake, and the weight of responsibility begins to settle on his young shoulders. The man looks at the cub with a grim expression. He knows that an unweaned fox bear cub has almost no chance of surviving in the wild on its own, especially without its mother. What you gonna do with the cub? Gon asks, his heart breaking. Put it down, the man replies coldly, his hand resting on his sword. He sees it as a mercy to prevent starvation. Gon is horrified. His eyes bulge with the shock of the man's words. He can't believe someone could be so heartless as to suggest killing a small, helpless creature like this cub. The man explains the cold reality. The cub will either starve or grow up bearing a grudge against humans. It's the cycle of violence that governs the wild world they live in. A long silence falls between them. Gon looks from the cub to the man, his mind racing. He's searching for another way, a third path that doesn't involve more death and sorrow. Suddenly, Gon lunges forward and scoops the cub into a tight hug. Hug! He's made his choice. He will protect this little life, no matter what the man or the forest says about it. I'll take care of it, Gon declares, even as the cub scratches and snaps at him. The man warns him that fox bears are wild to the core and cannot be tamed easily. The cub lets out a fierce mew and bites Gon's arm, drawing blood. Gon doesn't flinch. He holds on through the pain, his resolve as solid as the island's granite cliffs below them. Look at that determination. Gon's face is set, and his eyes are filled with a fierce protective fire. He's taking responsibility for his actions, a true sign of his growing maturity and character. The man watches Gon closely, his own eyes wide with a sudden, dawning realization. He sees something in the boy's spirit that feels incredibly familiar, a spark he's seen only once before. Hey kid, by any chance, do you know, was your father named Jing? The man asks, his voice trembling slightly. The world suddenly feels much smaller than it did a moment ago. Gon's face erupts into a look of pure, unadulterated shock and joy. The name he's only heard in whispers has finally been spoken aloud by a stranger, who actually seems to know him. You know my dad, sir? Ah, Cohen exclaims, his eyes sparkling with excitement. This is the moment everything changes. The legendary hunter Jing Freese SS isn't just a ghosties, a real person with a legacy. Huh, your dad's why I'm here, the man says with a small smile. He's come to Whale Island looking for leads, and it seems he's just found the most important one of all. I'm Kite, a hunter. For what that's worth, he introduces himself. He invites Gon to sit down, and the two of them share a moment of connection under the deepening forest canopy. Ding is my teacher, Kite reveals, dropping a bombshell that leaves Gon speechless. To think that his father was a mentor to such a powerful and skilled man is almost beyond belief. The sun begins to set, casting a golden glow over the island. It's a peaceful ending to a chaotic day, but for Gon, it's the dawn of a new understanding of his father. The fox bear cub, now named Khan, watches from the tall grass. He's still wild, but he's no longer alone. He has a protector in Gon and a new life ahead of him. Kite speaks of Jing's final test, to find him. It's the ultimate hunt, a challenge that Kite has been pursuing for years, and it shows the incredible skill of the man Jing SS. He's the best kid. There's no other hunter like him. Kite's praise is absolute. He credits Ding with saving his life and teaching him everything he knows about the world of hunting. Gon and Kite sit together on a fallen log, sharing a quiet moment of bonding. Kite is passing on the legacy of the father Gon never knew, filling the void with real stories. He tells Gamedo tried to hide. Jing is alive and out there somewhere in the world, living the life of the greatest hunter the world has ever seen or known. King's alive, kid. Those 3 words change Gon's world forever. His father isn't a tragic memory. He's a living goal, a target at the end of a very long and difficult trail. Kite understands why Mido lied. She was afraid for Gon and wanted to protect him from the dangers of the hunter life. But he knows that blood tells, and Gon's speaks volumes. As Kite prepares to leave, he offers one last piece of wisdom. All good hunters get along well with animals. It's a sign that Gon is already halfway there to his goal. Kong lets out a final mew as Kite walks away. The cub is a living symbol of the bond between man and nature, a lesson Gon will carry with him forevermore. The 2 of them stand together, small figures in a vast world, watching the sunset. They are both orphans of the sort, finding strength and companionship in their shared journey of survival. Gon holds the hunter license Kite left behind, the red card gleaming in the fading light. It's his most precious possession, the key that will unlock the door to his father's world. Years later, a grown Gon looks at that same hunter license, his expression resolute. He's ready. The time has finally come to leave Whale Island and begin his own hunt for Jing SS. Now then, Gon says, his voice steady and full of purpose. He's a young man now with the strength and skills he spent his entire childhood developing for this very specific moment. Khan, this is it, he tells his lifelong friend. They've grown up together, 2 survivors of the Whale Island forest, and now their paths are finally diverging into the great unknown world. Khan looks up at him with a deep, silent understanding. He knows that his friend must go, even if it means they won't see each other for a long, long time to come. Yeez, I'm gonna be a hunter, Gon declares, his voice ringing out across the forest. It's a vow to himself, to Khan, and to the father he's finally ready to find. Gon explains the harsh truth of his new path. As a hunter, he may have to do things the animals of the forest won't like or might even come to hate him for. You are king of the forest, Khan, and I don't want that to change. Gon wants his friend to stay true to his wild nature, even as Gon pursues his own destiny. Khan turns and begins to walk away, a majestic and powerful figure in the fading light. He's accepting Gon's decision, showing a maturity that mirrors the boy's own growth over the years. Gon watches him go, a touch of sadness in his eyes. It's the first of many goodbyes he'll have to say as he steps out into the wider world beyond the island. He stands alone on the cliffside, a small figure against the vast orange sky. He's reflecting on everything he's learned and the many friends he's leaving behind on Whale Island today. His face is a mix of determination and quiet contemplation. He knows the road ahead will be difficult, but he's never been more ready to face whatever challenges the world throws him. In the valley below, a gathering of animals watches the king of the forest return. Khan stands tall among his subjects, a powerful guardian who will keep the island safe while Gon's away. Bye, Khan, you rule, Yuri? Yur, Gon yells at the top of his lungs, waving his arms wildly. It's a joyous, energetic farewell, a final burst of childhood before the serious work begins. He turns and sprints toward the harbor, his feet flying over the familiar trails. He's a blur of green and gold, his excitement propelling him toward the boat that awaits him there. The forest animals watch him go, a silent audience to the departure of Whale Island's favorite son. They've seen him grow, and they know he's destined for great and terrible things. Night falls on the quiet village, and the lights of the houses twinkle like fallen stars. It's the last night Gon will spend in his childhood home, and the air is heavy. Inside, Gon and Mido share a final quiet dinner. The clink of their cutlery is the only sound in the room, a stark contrast to the lively conversations of their past nights. Mido stares into her glass, her face a mask of sorrow and resignation. She knows she can no longer hold him back, but the pain of letting go is still incredibly profound. "When do you leave?" she asks quietly. "First of next week," Gon replies, his voice steady. The reality of his departure is finally settling in for both of them in this moment. "I see," she says, taking a slow sip. She's trying to be strong, to be the aunt he needs right now, but her heart is breaking with every tick of the clock. She realizes that Gon has known the truth about his father's trade all along. He's been carrying that knowledge in silence, a burden he's finally ready to share with the world at large. "Yeah," Gon says simply, "there are no more secrets between them, no more lies to hide behind. They are finally speaking the truth, even if it's a truth that hurts them both." Mito asks if he knew Jing left him when he was still a baby. She's trying to understand why he would still want to follow the man who seemingly abandoned his only son. Gon looks at her with a wisdom that far exceeds his years. He's considered this question many times before, and his answer is as certain as the sunrise over the Whale Island. He explains that being a hunter must be such an important job that even family comes second. He doesn't see it as abandonment. He sees it as a testament to Jing's dedication. His words hit Mito like a physical blow. She sees the absolute conviction in his eyes and realizes that he's already a hunter in spirit, even without the license in his pocket. He pauses, his gaze intensifying. He's about to say something that will change her perspective forever, a final piece of the puzzle that explains his unwavering resolve to find his father. Being a hunter isn't for weaklings, Aunt Mito. Gon's voice is firm and proud. He's not looking for a father to take care of him. He's looking for an equal to challenge. Mito is speechless. She stares at the young man before her, seeing the shadow of Jingfrey Cizes in every line of his face. She finally understands he must go. It's destiny. Mito stands up, her chair clattering against the floor. "You are his son, after all," she exclaims, her voice a mix of frustration and a sudden, fierce pride in the boy's spirit. She turns and walks away, perhaps unable to let him see the tears in her eyes. It's a moment of final acceptance, the last hurdle before Gon's journey truly begins in earnest. Gon remains at the table, a solitary figure in the quiet room. He's at peace with his decision, and the weight of the future no longer feels like a burden to him. He looks at the shelves, filled with the artifacts of his childhood. They are memories he will carry with him, but he no longer needs them to define who he truly is. "But like you said, I am his son, Jinging's son." Jing whispers to himself. It's a mantra of strength, a connection that will sustain him through the trials and tribulations ahead. He remembers Kite's words about the final test to find Jing. It's the ultimate challenge, a hunt that will take him to the farthest reaches of the known and unknown world. "I must pass a final test, find Jing." I've never had such a challenging hunt. The goal is clear, the stakes are high, and Gon has never been more excited to begin. There's no other hunter like him. Kite's praise echo in Goen's mind, a constant reminder of the incredible legacy he's following and the high standard he must strive to achieve himself. "So it's about time I met him," Gon declares, his fishing rod over his shoulder. He's ready to face the world with his head held high and a heart full of hope. The harbor is bustling with activity as travelers and merchants prepare for their own journeys. It's a vibrant, noisy scene, the perfect backdrop for the start of Gon's grand and epic adventure. A massive wooden ship awaits at the pier, its sails billowing in the fresh sea breeze. This is the vessel that will carry Gon away from everything he knows and loves. A parting gift Gon, the villagers cheer, handing him a bundle of supplies. "Take care of yourself." Their voices are a warm chorus of support as he prepares to board the ship. Gon looks back at Mito, who stands alone on the stone steps. Her expression is a heartbreaking mix of pride and a profound, lingering sadness that she can no longer quite hide. For a moment, the world seems to stand still. The noise of the harbor fades away as aunt and nephew share a silent, final look of deep and unconditional love and understanding. "Aunt Mito," Gon calls out, his voice full of emotion. He wants to say so much, to thank her for everything, but the words feel too small for the depth of his gratitude. Thanks for everything," Gon says, his voice breaking slightly. Mito just nods, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "It's the hardest goodbye either of them has ever had to say. I'm sorry." "I lied to you again," Mito confesses, her voice a whisper. She wants to be completely honest with him before he leaves her side and the island forever. Ding didn't abandon you. I made him give you up. The truth is out at last. Mito took him in not because he was unwanted, but because she fought for him. Gon is silent, absorbing the weight of her words. It doesn't change his feelings for her or his desire to find his father. It only makes his bond with Mito stronger. Yeah, I kinda figured that. Dawn says with a gentle smile. He's always known her better than she realized, and his love for her is deeper than any simple lie. Whenever you lie, you never look me in the eye, he points out with a small, knowing laugh. It's a moment of lightness in a heavy scene, a final, shared secret. Bye, Amito, you watch, I'll come back as a gray hunter. Gon bellows from the ship's deck, his arm waving wildly. It's a promise he intends to keep with everything. Mito watches from the pier, her silhouette small against the vast harbor. She waves back, her heart filled with a prayer for his safety and a sudden, fierce pride in him. Gon stands at the railing, his gaze fixed on the receding shore. He's leaving his childhood behind, but he's carrying the spirit of Whale Island with him into the vast, open world. The ship glides through the calm blue waters, its sails filled with the morning breeze. It's a beautiful, hopeful sight, the beginning of a journey that will change the world forevermore. Nearby, a group of tough-looking candidates laughs mockingly. They see a small boy with a fishing rod and assume he's just a child playing at being a real, professional hunter among them. Great hunter, he says. One of them scoffs, his face a mask of arrogance. They have no idea of the power and resolve that lies within the small boy they're mocking. They think he's got it in the bag, but they don't realize the sheer difficulty of the exam they're all about to face together. Their arrogance will be their ultimate downfall soon. A man warns them that there are dozens of aspiring hunters right here, and they are only a tiny fraction of the thousands who apply every year for the prestigious hunter license. Even if you are, there's every chance the exam is the last thing you'll ever attempt in your life. The warning is chilling, a reminder of the lethal stakes of their goal. The candidates look at each other, the reality of the situation finally starting to sink in. Some look determined, while others are already beginning to show signs of doubt and growing fear. A scarred man watches from the shadows, his expression unreadable. He's seen many young hopefuls come and go, and he knows that most won't survive the first day of the grueling exam. Another man sharpens his knife, his eyes filled with a predatory light. In this competition, everyone is a rival, and some are willing to do whatever it takes to win the prize. Gon remains silent, his gaze fixed on the horizon. He's not intimidated by the tough talk or the dark looks. He knows who he is and what he's here to do. So begins Gon's epic journey to find his father and, like him, become a legendary hunter. It's going to be rough, the captain mutters, a sentiment that perfectly captures the road ahead. Chapter 2: An Encounter in the Storm. The journey truly begins as the ocean's fury tests the resolve of every aspiring hunter on board the ship, heading toward the legendary exam location. Hunters, people devoted to tracking down rare and priceless items, be they treasures, monsters, or wonders unknown. They are the elite, the dreamers, and the brave explorers of a vast, mysterious world. K-Flash. The sky turns black as a massive storm erupts over the ocean. Lightning strikes with a terrifying power, illuminating the chaos of the churning violent waves that threaten the ship. The ship is tossed like a toy in the gargantuan swell. Huge walls of water crash against the hull, and the roar of the wind drowns out every other sound on deck. A passenger is thrown across the deck as the ship tilts violently. It's a desperate struggle for survival, and the hunter exam has claimed its first victims before it has even begun. "Captain, hole in the hull! We're taking water," a crewman yells in panic. The situation is dire, and the captain's response is as colorful and rough as the man himself is. "Spee loose!" A massive wave erupts over the side, drenching everything and everyone in cold, salty water. The ocean is determined to swallow the ship whole and everyone on board along with it. "Hard TA port. We're taking a quick flight," the captain bellows, his hands white-knuckled on the wheel. He's a veteran of 1,000 storms, and his skill is their only hope now. The ship nearly capsizes as it rides the crest of a mountainous wave. It's a heart-stopping moment of pure peril, a true test of the vessel's strength and the crew's unwavering resolve. Inside the hold, passengers and cargo are flung everywhere in a chaotic mess of limbs and boxes. The screams of the terrified and the seasick fill the air in a cacophony. A dolphin leaps joyfully through the spray, a sudden and beautiful contrast to the chaos below. It's a reminder that even in the midst of a storm, life and beauty persevere. The captain takes a long drag from his pipe, the smoke curling around his weather-beaten face. He's calm, almost bored, as the ship struggles through the last of the gargantuan waves. A fair toss-up that was. "It'll do, Cap'n," the mate says, checking the damage. They've survived the worst of it, but the ship and its passengers are in a sorry state. "How's the supercargo?" the captain asks, referring to the aspiring hunters. The mate replies with a groan, indicating that most of them didn't handle the rough seas very well at all. BAHDUM. The hold is a disaster area, with candidates laid out flat and groaning in their own misery. It's a pathetic sight, a far cry from the tough talk they displayed. Pitiful dregs, this lot, the captain scoffs, adjusting his hat. And they're out to become hunters? What a laugh. He has no respect for those who can't handle a little rough weather. Dash. A small figure blurs past, moving with a speed and energy that seems impossible in this seasick environment. It's gone, as lively and helpful as ever, despite the chaotic storm. "Here, some water. And chew this herb, you'll feel better." Gone is a whirlwind of kindness, tending to the suffering candidates with a cheerful smile and a genuine desire to help them. Trope, trope. He carries a heavy basket of supplies as if it were nothing. He's completely unfazed by the ship's motion, his cellix as steady as if he were on dry land. ZZZ. Tirapika is fast asleep in his hammock, completely unbothered by the chaos around him. He's a picture of calm and focus, his mind as sharp as the blades he carries. Lirio is lounged back, reading a magazine with a bored expression. He's also seemingly immune to seasickness, showing a level of physical and mental toughness that sets him apart from others. Heh, some iron in those three, I see. The captain muses, watching them through the window. He's found his real candidates, the ones who might actually have a real fighting chance. Sea cranes cry out as they fly alongside the ship, their warnings echoing in the salty air. A new storm is brewing, and the ocean isn't finished with these travelers just yet. "Take it easy for a couple hours, lads. Gonna be real busy soon," the captain warns his crew. He knows the signs of a coming storm, and he's preparing for the worst. Gon stands at the railing, sniffing the air with a keen, animalistic focus. He's sensing the change in the atmosphere, his intuition telling him that something big is on the horizon. The birds are flying in a specific pattern, their calls more urgent than before. Gon watches them, his eyes following their every movement as he deciphers the messages of the wild. "What's up, kid?" "Sea legs flutterin'," the captain asks, coming up behind him. He's curious about what the boy is seeing in the sky and the behavior of the sea cranes nearby. "A big storm's coming, isn't it?" Gon asks, his voice calm and certain. It's not a guess. It's a statement of fact, based on a deep and innate connection with nature's signals. "How d'ye figure?" the captain asks, taking a long drink. He's testing the boy, curious to see if his prediction is based on real knowledge or just a lucky youthful guess. The wind's tepid and salty, and the sea cranes are calling out warnings. Gon explains his observations with a precision that leaves the veteran sea captain completely speechless with a sudden profound shock. "You can bird talk, kid," the captain exclaims, his eyes wide. "A little bit," Gon replies modestly. It's a rare and valuable skill, a testament to his unique upbringing on Well Island shores. Well, seems we." The captain trails off, a look of profound respect crossing his face. He realizes that this boy is much more than he first appeared to be today. Gon looks out at the gathering clouds, his expression serious. He knows that the coming storm will be a true test of the ship and everyone on board, and he's ready. The captain stares at Gon's back, a thoughtful expression on his face. He's seen something in the boy that he's only seen a few times in his long life. True greatness. "Hey, kid, you embarked at Whale Island, right?" the captain asks. "Yeah," Gon replies. The captain is starting to put the pieces together. The legendary island producing a legendary boy. What's your dad's trade? The captain inquires, his voice low. He's searching for the final confirmation of his theory about the boy's parentage and his incredible innate talents on display. He's a hunter. I've never met him, but I hear he's the best. Don exclaims, his voice full of pride. The captain's eyes widen. The puzzle is finally and completely finished now. I see. The day has finally come, the captain mutters to himself. He knows the name Freeze SS, and he knows that the legacy of Jing is finally returning to the world. So, can you tell me the storm's size and when we'll hit it? He tests Gon one last time. Gon's answer is perfect, showing an incredible natural understanding of the sea's power. 'Bout right, and not some landlubber's lucky guess either. Heh! The captain is thoroughly impressed. He's found a true talent, a diamond in the rough among all the pathetic dregs below. Mun, I'll show you how to steer a ship, the captain offers. Whoa! Gon cheers, his eyes lighting up. It's a rare honor and a chance to learn a new skill. Gon stands at the helm, his hands on the massive wheel. He's a natural, his small frame radiating a sense of command and confidence as he prepares to guide them through the storm. The captain explains that a change in the coastal winds might tighten their time frame. It's as good a time as any to start learning the complex workings of a real ship's bridge. To be a first-rate hunter, you're obliged to know how to handle most anything. The captain's advice is sound and practical, a valuable lesson for the young man's future career and life. Attention! The announcement rings out. Another storm is ahead, and it's a doozy. The terrified candidates are given a choice. Stay and face the danger, or take a spare lifeboat and leave. We're out of here. Enough, the candidates yell, scrambling for the lifeboats in a desperate panic. They've seen enough of the ocean's fury and are ready to give up their hunter dreams. The waves crash against the hull with a renewed fury, as if the ocean itself is mocking the cowards who are fleeing its reach. The true test is finally beginning in earnest. So it's down to you three, eh? Give me your names? The captain looks at the only three who remained, Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio. The real exam has finally, truly, begun for them. The name's Leorio. I'm Gon, call me Kurapika. The three of them introduce themselves, a diverse and intriguing trio who have each passed the captain's secret first test of character and grit. And you want to be hunters? Why? The captain asks, his gaze piercing. Leorio is defensive, questioning the captain's right to ask, but the tension in the room is high and undeniable. My dad's a hunter and I want to follow in his footsteps. Gon explains with a bright smile. Leorio scolds him for being so open, but Gon's honesty is his greatest and most potent strength. Why? What's the big secret? Gon asks. Leorio and Kurapika remain cagey, their reasons for seeking the hunter license hidden behind a wall of silence and a clear sense of personal mystery. Kurapika agrees with Riolio, sparking an immediate comedic outburst from Leorio. He's already tired of being disrespected, but Kurapika isn't done lecturing him about the virtues of honesty and the weight of their current situation. Kurapika explains his moral code with clinical coldness. To him, lying is a sin as base as greed. He would rather be blunt and dishonorable than lower himself to deception, even if it makes things harder. Despite his principles, Kurapika admits he won't share his secrets with just anyone. The matter of his past is too heavy and personal. Larare watches from behind, fuming at the blonde youth's high and mighty attitude. The captain has heard enough of their bickering. He gives them a harsh ultimatum: answer the question or get off the ship. His intense gaze and pipe smoke underscore his absolute authority over the vessel. The realization hits Leorio and Kurapika like a ton of bricks. They share a stunned, silent look. They thought they were just traveling, but the stakes have been much higher than they ever imagined since boarding. The captain drops a bombshell that leaves them reeling. The hunter exam didn't start at some distant hall. It's been happening right here on this vessel. The selection process is already in full swing for them. Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio stand in stunned silence as the gravity of the captain's words sinks in. Every move they've made since stepping on deck was part of a secret trial. There is no turning back. A massive, terrifying whirlpool churns the ocean, a literal war of nature's power. The sea is a beast, and only the strongest applicants will survive the treacherous journey toward the true exam grounds in one piece. The ship looks like a mere toy against the backdrop of the vast rolling waves. As the wind howls through the rigging, the small vessel plows forward into the unknown, carrying our three hopeful heroes. The captain stares them down, his face a map of experience and scars. He isn't just a sailor, he's a gatekeeper. He's looking for something specific in these three, something that sets them apart from failures. The captain explains the harsh reality of the hunter exam. Thousands seek the license, but the committee doesn't have time for everyone. The initial filtering is done by those who drive the bus, like him. Below deck, the captain walks with purpose, his lantern casting long, flickering shadows. He reiterates that he isn't just a navigator, he's a judge. The true test of character for the trio has only just begun. The captain reveals a chilling truth. Everyone else on this ship has already failed. They've been disqualified and reported as dropouts. If they try to find the exam site alone, they will be rejected instantly. The tension is palpable as the captain puts the ball back in their court. Their future depends entirely on his recommendation. Now, he asks again, why do you truly want to become hunters? Silence falls over the cabin, broken only by the creaking of the wooden ship. Leorio and Kurapika exchange a tense glance. The time for games is over. They must speak their truth or face immediate failure. Kurapika finally yields, his expression hardening as he prepares to unveil his tragic past. He looks away, the weight of his clan's legacy visible in the determined slant of his youthful, sharp features. The revelation is a total shock. Kurapika is the sole survivor of the Kurta clan. His eyes, though not yet scarlet, burn with a hidden intensity that leaves the captain and Leorio speechless with surprise. Kurapika declares his ultimate goal, to capture the Phantom Troop. 4 years ago, those ruthless robbers slaughtered his people for their rare, scarlet eyes. His journey is fueled by a burning desire for absolute justice. The captain warns him that hunting the Phantom Troop is a death sentence. They are Class A bounties that even seasoned veterans fear, but Kurapika's resolve is ironclad. He knows exactly what he's up against. Death holds no terror for Kurapika. His only true fear is that his righteous fury might one day fade, leaving the spirits of his kin unavenged. His gaze is piercing, filled with a haunting determination. Leorio dismisses Kurapika's quest for vengeance as stupid, arguing you don't need a license for revenge. He insults Kurapika's intelligence, sparking a dangerous conflict between the two companions as the captain drinks silently. Leorio shouts his own ambition to the rafters. Money, he wants the high life fast cars, big houses, and top-shelf liquor. To him, the hunter license is nothing more than a golden ticket to absolute wealth. Kurapika is visibly repulsed, viewing Leorio's materialistic goals as utterly classless. Leorio's eye twitches with rage at the insult. These two are like oil and water, and the container is about to burst. That was the final insult. Leorio has had enough of Kurapika's condescending attitude. His face contorts with anger as he decides to settle this dispute, the old-fashioned way with a fight outside on the deck. Leorio issues a cold challenge, even threatening to make Kurapika the last of his kind. It's a low blow that crosses the line, turning their verbal sparring into a deadly serious confrontation of pride. Kurapika's expression darkens as the insult to his clan hits home. He stands his ground, his voice low and dangerous. "You dare say that?" he asks, the air around him crackling with violent intent. Leorio doesn't back down an inch. He doubles down on his threat, his gaze narrowing behind his glasses. He's ready to back up his words, no matter how cruel they were. The storm is brewing. As the two storm out to the deck to duel, the captain tries to stop them. He shouts that they aren't finished with the test, but his words fall on deaf ears. They're gone. Gon stops the captain, suggesting they should let the two rivals work it out themselves. He watches them leave with a calm expression, understanding that some things can only be settled through direct action. Gon recalls a favorite saying of Aunt Mito, "To know a person, find out what makes them angry." He watches the departing duo, sensing this conflict will reveal their characters more than any question. Gon remains remarkably insightful for his age. He knows that Kurapika and Leorio are dealing with deep, personal issues. They need this confrontation to find common ground or part ways forever. The captain hums to himself, reconsidering his stance. He watches the young boy with growing curiosity. Gon's simple wisdom and calm demeanor are proving to be quite impressive in the face of such chaos. Disaster strikes. A deckhand rushes in with a frantic warning. The wind has shifted into a fierce, howling gale. The calm before the storm has vanished, replaced by the terrifying roar of a hurricane. Outside, the sea has transformed into a churning nightmare. Massive waves crash against the hull as Kurapika and Leorio prepare to clash, oblivious to the life-threatening storm that has just erupted around them. "Shorten the sails?" the crew screams as the ship tosses like a cork. The mast groans under the pressure, and the threat of capsizing looms over everyone. It's a desperate race against the elements. Men scramble across the slippery deck, hauling ropes and fighting the wind. "Heave! Ho!" they cry, their muscles straining. The storm is relentless, threatening to tear the vessel apart at any moment. Amidst the chaos, Kurapika demands an apology. He gives Leorio one last chance to take back the insult to his clan. The wind whips his hair, but his stance remains firm and unwavering. Leorio refuses to budge. He stands his ground, shouting over the roar of the ocean that he meant every word. His pride is just as stubborn as Kurapika's honor, making a peaceful resolution impossible. The captain watches the madness, knowing that anyone who falls overboard in this maelstrom is as good as dead. Gon, ever the helper, offers his assistance to help keep the ship afloat. The duel begins. Kurapika unsheathes his swords, his movements fluid even on the tilting deck. The Ariel pulls out a switchblade, his eyes filled with a desperate, angry fire. "Bring it," he yells. Disaster. The mainmast can't take the strain any longer and snaps with a thunderous crack. Wood splinters and ropes fly as the heavy timber begins its deadly descent toward the panicking crew members. Men are thrown about like ragdolls as the ship lurches violently. The sheer force of the wind and waves is overwhelming, turning the deck into a chaotic battlefield where survival is the only goal. A crew member looks up in absolute horror as a heavy piece of the broken mast hurtles toward him. He's paralyzed by fear, staring death in the face as the wooden beam swings closer. The man is swept off the deck. With a desperate cry, he's flung toward the churning dark abyss of the ocean. The crew can only watch in helpless shock as one of their own vanishes. Katsu is falling. The deckhand's scream is lost in the roar of the gale. He flails in the air, his body framed against the terrifying backdrop of the massive swirling storm clouds and crashing waves. The perspective shifts as Katsu plunges toward the sea. The ship looks distant and unreachable as he falls, a tiny speck against the overwhelming power of the ocean. Is this the end for him? Katsu. His companions scream in despair. They reach out, but the gap is already too wide. The reality of the situation hits everyone. This is the certain death the captain warned them about earlier. Gon and the captain stare in wide-eyed shock. The boy's instincts scream at him to act, while the captain realizes that the storm has claimed its first victim. The tension on deck reaches its peak. Katsu is airborne, falling toward certain death. Below him, the sea is a churning maw of white foam and dark water. The sheer scale of the ship and the storm creates a terrifying scene. Leorio reacts. Seeing the man in danger, he forgets his grudge and lunges forward. He reaches out with a desperate cry, his fingers straining to catch the falling sailor before he disappears forever. Kurapika, too, is jolted into action. His eyes widen as he sees the tragedy unfolding. Without a second thought, he abandons his fighting stance and moves with incredible speed toward the edge of the deck. But it's Gon who leads the charge. With the agility of a jungle cat, he sprints across the deck, his eyes locked on the falling man. He's a blur of green, heading for the abyss. Leorio and Kurapika dive for Katsu, their hands barely missing him as he slips through the railing. It's a heart-stopping moment where inches mean the difference between life and a watery grave. They've missed. The sailor is falling into the void. Kurapika and Leorio are left grasping at thin air, their faces etched with horror as they realize they were just a split second too slow to save him. But wait, a green blur flies past them. Gon has launched himself off the ship entirely, his body a projectile aimed directly at the falling man. It's an insane suicidal gamble for a complete stranger. Springing like a leopard, Gon reaches out with both hands, He's flying through the storm, defying gravity and logic to save the deckhand. Kurapika and Leario watch in absolute, breathless amazement. Clamping onto Gon's legs at the very last second, Kurapika and Leario act as his anchor. They hold on with everything they've got, preventing the boy from being swept away by the gale. "Hold on, we'll get a rope," the crew shouts, rushing to help. Leorio and Kurapika are suspended over the edge, their muscles bulging as they support Gon's weight against the howling wind. Success! Gon has caught Katsuo. The crew cheers as they begin hauling the two back onto the safety of the deck. It was a miracle save, executed with perfect timing and incredible courage. Gon rubs his nose, looking a bit dazed but mostly all right. "Ow," he mutters. Despite the near-death experience, his first concern is his own minor bumps and bruises. Truly a unique kid. Leorio and Kurapika are breathless, panting from the exertion. They share a silent look. The animosity from before has vanished, replaced by a mutual respect born from their shared act of heroism. But the relief is short-lived as they start lecturing Gon. They shout at him for being so reckless, telling him even a mermaid couldn't survive those waters. Gon just stares back, looking confused. "But you did grab my legs," Gon says with a triumphant "ta-da" and a bright smile. He points out that he knew his new friends would be there to catch him, showing immense trust. Leario and Kurapika are left speechless. They didn't realize Gon was counting on them so completely. His simple logic and unwavering faith in them are both humbling and slightly exasperating. The captain watches from a distance, a small smile playing on his lips. He's seen many applicants, but these three have shown a bond and a level of selflessness that is truly rare. "So we did," Kurapika admits with a sigh. They realized that Gon's recklessness wasn't just luck, it was a calculated risk based on his belief in their character. They can't help but be impressed. Leario looks away, rubbing the back of his head. He's starting to see that there's more to his companions than he first thought. The tension has fully melted away into a quiet, reflective moment. Kurapika offers a formal apology to Leorio for his earlier disrespect. He realizes that a man who would risk his life for a deckhand, despite his flaws, is a man worthy of honor. Leorio waves it off, admitting he was wrong to insult Kurapika's clan. He's not a snide punk after all. They both learned a valuable lesson about making assumptions based on first impressions. Gon watches them with a satisfied grin. He knew they were good people all along. The storm might still be raging outside, but the conflict inside the ship has finally been settled. The captain lets out a hearty laugh, his voice booming over the wind. He tips his hat to the trio, genuinely amused and impressed by their antics and their sudden, unexpected camaraderie. "What a pair you are," the captain bellows. He's made his decision. These three aren't just random applicants. They have the heart and the skill required to move forward in the exam. The captain announces his decision. He's taken a liking to them despite their arrogance. As a reward, he'll drop them off at the port closest to the actual Hunter exam hall entrance. Gon is confused. "What about your test?" he asks. He doesn't realize that the test was happening all along, and their actions during the storm were the ultimate proof of their worthiness. The captain just chuckles, saying it's too nice a day for more testing. He invites Gon up to the helm to learn how to steer the ship, treating him like a true apprentice. "Yay!" Gon cheers, jumping for joy. He's thrilled to learn a new skill and excited for the journey ahead. Leorio and Kurapika watch him, finally at peace with their roles. Chapter 3. The Ultimate Choice. Gon sits on the grass, looking puzzled at a map. Behind him, a strange, long-necked creature with a checkered pattern watches curiously. The journey to the hall begins. They arrive at Do Harbor, a bustling port filled with hundreds of other hunter applicants. The scale of the competition is finally becoming clear as they step off the ship and onto docks. Leorio is overwhelmed by the crowds. "All these people," he mutters, adjusting his suitcase. "Every single person here is a potential rival, and many look far more dangerous than he expected." The trio walks through the harbor, a small island of calm in a sea of ambitious strangers. They stand out with their unique styles, the boy in green, the blonde youth, and the man. We see a montage of other applicants. Some look nervous, others look ready for war. The air is thick with anticipation and hidden agendas as everyone waits for the next stage of the exam. Kurapika notes that most of these people are probably heading toward the same destination. He remains observant, his eyes scanning the crowd for any threats or useful information as they move forward carefully. The captain leans against the railing, watching his three favorite applicants depart. He's done his part, guiding them through the first hidden hurdle. Now, it's up to them to find the true path. "Thanks for everything, Captain," Gon shouts, waving energetically. The captain wishes them luck, a rare softness in his eyes as he watches the boy who reminds him so much of a certain friend. The captain calls out one final word of advice. He has one last tip for the boy who caught his eye. Gon stops and turns, his curiosity piqued by the old sailor's serious tone. With a cryptic gesture, the captain points toward the distant hills. He's giving them a shortcut, a piece of insider information that isn't on any official map or notice provided to the public. "That lone pine tree up there on the hill," the captain says. He suggests it might be a good place to start looking, despite what the official directions might say to the crowd. "Okay, thanks. Bye," Don shouts, running off with a wave. He takes the captain's advice to heart immediately, his simple trust once again leading him toward the unknown and potentially dangerous. The captain watches him go, whispering a message to a ghost. "Stop frettin', Jing. That's a fine young lad you've got there." The connection to Gon's father is finally revealed to the audience. In the shadows, a mysterious figure watches the trio depart, a silent observer, his eyes fixed on the young boy in green. The exam hasn't even truly begun, and already powerful forces are watching. Lirio points to a map, arguing with Gon. "Zaben is right here," he insists. He thinks heading toward the lone tree is a waste of time, preferring to follow the official route like everyone. Leorio wants to take the express bus. It's faster, easier, and makes more sense than climbing a random hill. He's always looking for the most logical path, even if it's the most crowded one. Kurapika joins the debate, questioning if they should really trust the captain's vague advice over the official instructions. He's more cautious than Gon, weighing the risks of a potentially pointless detour in the woods. "Yep, and I'm gonna check it out," Gon says with a determined smile. He'd rather explore a hunch than wait for a bus. His sense of adventure is his strongest guide. Lirio sighs, telling Gon he needs to learn not to trust people so much. He still believes the bus is the way to go. The group is split, each following their own instincts. Gon walks toward the hill alone, his fishing pole over his shoulder. He's confident in his choice, leaving his two companions behind to decide their own fates at the crossroads of the journey. Lirio shouts after them, stunned that they're actually leaving. He can't believe they'd ignore the obvious path for a random suggestion from a sailor. He's left standing alone in the middle of road. Kurapika stops and looks back. He admits he's not just following the captain's advice. He's interested in what Gon does. The boy's instincts have proven to be surprisingly accurate and insightful so far. "I'm going to tag along with him," Kurapika decides, turning to follow the green-clad boy. He values Gon's intuition more than Leorio's logic, much to the businessman's intense frustration and disbelief. Leorio is fuming. He thinks they're both crazy. He insists on sticking to what makes sense and heads toward the bus station, determined to prove that his way is the right way. At the bus stop, Leorio waits and waits. It's getting late, and the bus is nowhere to be seen. He starts to get a sinking feeling that he might have made a mistake. He overhears two other applicants laughing. They reveal the express bus was a trap to weed out gullible rookies. Leorio's eyes go wide. He almost fell for the oldest trick in the book. Panic sets in. Leorio realizes he's been played. He looks toward the distant hill where Gon and Kurapika headed, his face a mask of desperation as the sun begins to set over them. He's running. Abandoning his pride, Leorio sprints down the road, his suitcase banging against his legs. He has to catch up to the others before he's left behind for good in this town. "Wait up," he screams, panting heavily. He tries to play it off like he's just worried about them being alone, but his frantic pace tells the real story. The trio is finally reunited. They enter a desolate, eerie town. The wind howls through empty streets and broken signs creak on their hinges. It's a ghost town, a stark contrast to the bustling harbor they just left behind. Crows watch them from the rooftops, their dark feathers ruffled by the breeze. The atmosphere is heavy with hidden eyes. Something isn't right here, and the silence is far too loud for comfort. They walk deeper into the ruins, their footsteps echoing. Kurapika and Gon are alert, sensing a presence that Leorio seems to be missing. The path to the lone tree goes right through here. Leorio complains about the creepy, crummy place, unaware that they are being watched from every shadow. He's focused on the dirt and decay, not the hidden dangers lurking nearby in the dark buildings. Oh, there's lots of folks here, Gon says calmly. He can feel the presence of many people hiding. Kurapika agrees, telling Leorio to keep his guard up. The town isn't empty. How can you tell? Leorio asks, looking around nervously. Gon and Kurapika explain they can hear people breathing and clothes rustling. Their senses are tuned far beyond Leorio's normal hearing level. Leorio is stunned. He tries to listen, but all he hears is the wind. He's starting to realize just how much of a gap there is between him and his young, gifted companions. Kurapika tells him to shh, as a group of masked figures suddenly emerges from the shadows. They are surrounded. The hidden folks Gon mentioned have finally decided to show themselves to them. An old woman sitting on a throne-like chair is carried forward by the masked attendants. She looks ancient and powerful, her eyes filled with a sharp, unnerving intelligence as she addresses the trio. The masked figures whisper and mutter, a rhythmic sound that fills the narrow alleyway. The old woman holds a staff topped with a glowing purple orb, adding to her mystical and intimidating presence. The excitement. The old woman rasps, her voice like grinding stones. She seems to enjoy the tension she's created. She's the gatekeeper of this town, and her test is about to begin now. The three applicants stand their ground, each reacting differently to the strange scene. Gon is curious, Kurapika is wary, and Leorio is just trying to process the madness of it all in silence. Time for the mind-boggling two-choice quiz. She bellows, her face contorting into a terrifying mask of madness. The sudden outburst is a shock, signaling the start of a very different kind of trial. The old woman stares them down with wide, bloodshot eyes. She's looking for something specific in their reactions. This isn't just a quiz, it's a psychological. The masked attendants start clapping in a slow, eerie unison. The sound echoes off the stone walls, creating a hypnotic and unsettling rhythm that underscores the gravity of their current situation. She explains the rules. To reach the pine tree, they must pass through this town. There are no other routes, only a maze filled with ferocious magical beasts for those who fail her test. I will pose a single question, she says, holding up one finger, and give you but 5 seconds to answer. The pressure is immediate and intense. One wrong word and their journey ends here. Answer incorrectly and you fail. Her words are final. No hunter licensed this year, no second chances. The weight of their dreams is suddenly balanced on a single impossible question for the group. Kurapika realizes this is another part of the selection process. He nods silently, accepting the challenge. Gon is equally ready, while Leorio is still reeling from the suddenness of it all. You must answer with a 1 or a 2, she screams. Any other answer, no matter how clever, is failure. Leorio is outraged. How can 3 people share one answer? It's totally unfair. Leorio is terrified that Kurapika will mess it up for everyone. Kurapika dryly replies that it's more likely Leorio will make the mistake. Their bickering starts again, even in the face of disqualification. Gon stops them, pointing out that this means they can put their heads together. He's always looking for the positive side. They have one question to solve as a team in 5 seconds. What's the holdup here? A new voice calls out. A 4th applicant, a smug-looking man, steps forward. He's been following them and wants to take the test first to see the question. The newcomer, Matthew, admits he overheard their conversation with the captain. He's a pro at these exams and thinks he can breeze through. He rudely pushes past them to take the stage first. Kurapika suggests letting him go first. It's a smart move. They can observe the question and his answer without risking themselves. Matthew is more than happy to show off his skills to the kids. Matthew sneers at them, promising to lay traps ahead. He's overconfident and arrogant, a classic example of the kind of applicant the hunter exam is designed to weed out early in the process. The old woman raises her staff. Here's the question, she announces. The air grows still as everyone waits for the impossible choice that will determine the arrogant man's fate and future as a hunter. Robes have taken your mother and your true love captive. You may only rescue one. Which do you save? 1. Your mother. 2. Your true love. It's the ultimate cruel moral dilemma. Kurapika and Lario are stunned. It's a horrible question with no right answer. How can anyone choose between two people they love? The cruelty of the test is finally revealed to them all. Kurapika is outraged. He thinks the question is a subjective mess with too many variables. He can't believe they're expected to guess which answer the old woman prefers for her own amusement. Matthew, however, looks thoughtful. He thinks he knows the trick to the answer. He's calculating, looking for the most logical response rather than the most emotional one to win favor with the screener. Number 1, Matthew shouts confidently. He adds, mostly to himself, that while he'd actually choose his love, he knows this hag probably favors the traditional save the mother answer to move things along. And your reason? The old woman asks. Her face is unreadable, a wall of ancient wrinkles. She's pushing him to justify his choice, digging deeper into his true character for everyone to see. Matthew explains that a mother is irreplaceable, while you can always find another love. It's a cold, clinical justification that ignores actual feelings. He thinks he's being clever and winning her over. The masked attendants whisper among themselves. The atmosphere is tense. Matthew waits for his praise, sure that his logical answer has won him passage through the town toward the next stage of the exam. You may go, she says simply, pointing to the gate. Matthew smirks at the trio, thinking he's won. But as he walks away, the old woman's eyes remain fixed on our three heroes. Matthew walks through the dark tunnel, disappearing into the ruins. He thinks he's on the fast track to the exam hall, unaware of what truly lies ahead for those who pass with a lie. Leorio explodes with rage. You crazy old bat, what kind of quiz is this? He can't stand the injustice. To him, the question is a cruel, pointless joke that mocks the value of human life. Leorio continues his tirade, shouting that there is no right answer and never has been. He's had enough of these screeners and their mind games. He's ready to walk away from it all. The old woman remains unmoved. She tells him there is no other route. If they leave now, they can forget about their hunter licenses forever. The gate she guards is the only way forward. Leorio is fuming, his face red with anger. He's stuck between his principles and his dream. He glares at the old woman, who stares back with a chilling, calm indifference that only fuels him. Suddenly, Kurapika's eyes widen. A realization hits him like a lightning bolt. He sees something the others have missed, a secret hidden in plain sight within the old woman's rules and silence. Leorio is still shouting, asking Kurapika if he really intends to go along with this farce. He's too blinded by his anger to notice the subtle shift in Kurapika's expression and posture. Hold it, the old woman commands, her voice cutting through Leorio's shouting. She turns her attention to Kurapika, sensing that the blonde one has finally caught on to her real game. She raises her hand, silencing Leorio with a sharp, no more chit-chat. The final test is about to begin, and she won't allow any more distractions from the hot-headed businessman anymore. Answer now or you all fail, she screams. She gives them the choice to take the quiz or not. Leorio is at his breaking point, his fists clenched and ready to strike the screener. Kurapika stares at her, his mind racing. He knows the trick now. He just needs Leorio to stay calm for a few more seconds. Think, Leorio, he screams internally, hoping his friend listens. Leorio is silent, his body shaking with suppressed rage. He's a ticking time bomb, and the old woman's countdown is the fuse. The tension in the alleyway is absolutely unbearable for everyone there. It's a simple trick, Kurapika realizes. The answer isn't 1 or 2, it's something else entirely. He looks at Gon, wondering if the boy has also figured it out with his sharp, natural instincts. Gon is silent, his face a mask of concentration. Kurapika is sure he's picked up on it. It's not about what they say, but what they don't say. Silence is the key. Here's the question, the old woman says, her finger raised. This is it. the final hurdle before they can move on. Everything depends on their reaction in the next 5 critical seconds. Your son and daughter have been kidnapped. You can only get one back. Which will you get back? 1. Your daughter. 2. Your son. The same cruel, impossible choice as before for them. Leorio is done. Same question, he roars. He thinks she's taking him for idiots. His fuse has finally run out, and his anger is about to boil over into direct, physical violence. 5. 4. The old woman starts the countdown. The masked attendants watch as Leorio picks up a wooden board, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated fury toward the old screener. He snaps the board over his knee, his eyes fixed on the old woman. He's not going to answer, he's going to attack. The quiz has become a desperate battle of wills and pride. Go on, keep counting down, Leorio shouts, brandishing the broken board. That's how long you have to live, Hag. He's lost control, and the hunter exam seems to be over for him and others. 3, 2. The countdown continues, oblivious to Lorio's threats. Kurapika and Gon remain silent, standing like statues as their companion prepares to throw his entire future away in a moment of rage. 1. The final second ticks by. Leorio lunges forward, his weapon raised. It's a desperate, angry move that seems destined to end in failure and immediate disqualification for the entire group. Beep! Time's up. The old woman announces the end of the test. Leorio is mid-swing, his face inches from hers. The silence that follows is deafening, heavy with the weight of their choices. K-wham. Leorio's strike is blocked. But it's not the old woman who stops him, it's Kurapika. He's used his wooden swords to intercept the blow, protecting the screener at the very last possible second. The force of the impact sends splinters flying everywhere. Kurapika holds firm, his expression calm and determined. He's standing between his angry friend and their only chance at actually becoming hunters. Why do you block me? Leorio screams, his eyes bulging with rage. Kurapika tells him to calm down, but Leorio is beyond reason. I won't. I'm pissed, he bellows, struggling against Kurapika's strong grip. Leorio continues his tirade, shouting that he wants to bust some examiner heads. He's completely disillusioned with the whole process, viewing it as a series of cruel and pointless games played with their lives. We've passed this test, Leorio, Kurapika says quietly. His words hit Leorio like a bucket of cold water. What? The older man asks, his anger suddenly replaced by total and absolute confusion. Even the old woman seems a bit surprised by Kurapika's composure. She watches him with a new sense of respect, realizing that he's seen through her deception completely from the very start. Kurapika tells Leorio to control his temper. He's finally able to explain the simple trick. They didn't pass because of a right answer. They passed because they didn't give any answer at all. Don't you see? The correct response is no response. Kurapika explains that since neither choice was right, the only acceptable answer was silence. Their 5 seconds of silence were their pass through the gate. Leorio is stunned. He looks from Kurapika to the old woman, the realization slowly sinking in. His anger was based on a fundamental misunderstanding of the test's true, deeper purpose and design. Kurapika reminds him of his own words. Neither choice is right. The test was designed to see if they could recognize an impossible dilemma and have the wisdom to remain silent in its face. Silence indeed was golden, Kurapika notes calmly. He adds that they were never required to actually say anything. The 1 and 2 choices were just another layer of the psychological trap. Leorio points out that Matthew was allowed to go through. Kurapika explains that the woman never said he was right. She just said he could go. There's a big difference in their destinations. Kurapika reveals a chilling detail. He heard Matthew scream earlier. He doesn't think the man got very far before encountering a magical beast. The wrong path was a deadly trap for the arrogant. You're right, the old woman admits. She gestures toward a hidden door. This is the real path. The gate Matthew took was a shortcut to failure and potentially something much worse than that. She points toward a plain trail with no forks. You'll reach the summit in 2 hours. The true route is finally open to them, earned through their silence and their collective wisdom as partners. Leorio is humbled. He looks at his hands, then at his friends. He realizes that without Kurapika's calm and Gon's intuition, he would have failed hours ago. He owes them both his future. Old woman, my apologies, Leorio says, bowing deeply. He's regained his composure and sense of honor. The old woman accepts it, noting that his passion isn't entirely a bad thing for a hunter. She wishes them luck on the rest of the exam, saying that people like them make her job interesting. She's seen a spark in this trio that she hasn't seen in years of screening. Thanks, Gon says with his usual cheerful wave. They head through the door and onto the real mountain path, their bond stronger than ever as they prepare to face the next difficult challenge. Set. I can't, Gon suddenly shouts, clutching his head. He's still thinking about the question. Even after passing, the impossible choice is eating away at his simple, honest, and empathetic mind. I can't figure out an answer, he cries. He's taking the hypothetical dilemma completely seriously, struggling with the idea of having to choose between two people he loves. It's too much for him. Leorio and Kurapika share a laugh. They've already moved on, but Gon's empathy is so deep that he can't just let it go. It's one of his most endearing and potentially dangerous character traits. You can stop thinking now. We passed. Leorio says with a wide grin. He's back to his usual self, happy to be moving forward and amused by the boy's intense and earnest nature. Gon still looks troubled. Oh, I know, he mutters. But the question has planted a seed of doubt in his mind about the world he's about to enter as a professional hunter. But what if one day you really have to make a choice like that, Gon asks. His voice is small and serious. He's looking at the dark reality of their future profession already. What then? The panel ends on a close-up of Kurapika and Leorio, Gon's haunting question hanging in the air. It's a moment of sobering reflection before they continue their long ascent up the mountain. Gon continues his thought. It won't be about which answer is correct, but about what's truly in your heart when the chips are down. He's growing up, right before our very eyes. The three of them stand in a wide space, tiny figures against the vastness of their journey. The silence emphasizes the weight of Gon's words and the gravity of their chosen path. The old woman watches them go from a distance. Yes, the lad has perceived, she whispers. She's impressed by Gon's ability to see the deeper meaning and reality behind her cruel, hypothetical quiz. She realizes that what seems abstract, now a hypothetical quiz, may become a cruel reality for them later as hunters. The test was just a small taste of the hard choices to come in life. One must be ready for such crossroads in life. The trio walks toward a bright light at the end of the tunnel, prepared to face whatever life or death decisions the real exam holds. A weather-worn sign warns of magical beasts. The atmosphere has shifted again, moving from a psychological test to a physical one. The forest ahead is dark and filled with hidden, dangerous creatures. It's getting dark, Leorio complains. They've been hiking for 4 hours, far longer than the 2 hours promised. He's tired, hungry, and starting to lose his patience with the trail and the signs. Another beast warning, Leorio sighs, ignoring another sign. He's more worried about finding the exam hall than any monsters. Where's the stupid hall? He shouts into the empty, quiet woods. Gon is also hungry, but he's still moving fast. Leorio yells that he has to take a dump, adding a bit of crude humor to their desperate situation as they push through the brush. They finally spot it, a small house under a massive pine tree. The old woman told them the couple who live there are the navigators who will guide them to the actual exam hall. Chapter 4. Kiriko, Wicked Magical Wolves. An informational page explains the role of navigators. The exam hall changes location every year, and only these mysterious guides can lead the worthy applicants to its gates. The small cabin looks peaceful under the moonlight, nestled beside the giant pine. But the silence is heavy, and the shadows around the building seem to pulse with a hidden, dangerous life inside. Woo, finally here, Leorio pants. He's relieved to have reached their destination. He wonders if they're the only ones here, noticing how quiet and still everything is around the small house. Knock knock. Leorio taps on the wooden door. There's no answer from inside. He shares a concerned look with Kurapika. Something feels wrong. The air is suddenly thick with the metallic scent of blood. Suddenly, a terrifying sound erupts from inside, a crashing, ripping noise that makes their hair stand on end. The peaceful cabin has suddenly become a scene of chaotic and brutal violence for the navigators. Hello? Anyone Hmer Lario's greeting is cut short as he peers through the window. His eyes widen in absolute horror at the nightmare he sees unfolding in the dimly lit, blood-splattered room. HUR? Leorio and Kurapika reel back, their faces pale. Inside, a monster is feasting. The navigators they were looking for are in mortal danger and the predator is right in front of them. The beast's eyes glow with a predatory light. It's a massive, fox-like creature with long, spindly limbs and sharp claws. It lets out a chilling sound that sounds almost like a human kill. Kill. The nightmare revealed. The Kiriko holds a woman captive, its claws digging into her shoulders. A man lies bleeding on the floor behind him. It's a scene of pure, unadulterated terror for the trio. A magical beast. Kurapika screams, drawing his swords. The trio doesn't hesitate. They spring into action to save the innocent victims from the monster's clutches. The life-or-death fight is on. The Kiriko is incredibly fast. It leaps through the air, carrying the woman with it. It's a blur of orange fur and sharp claws, moving with an agility that defies its large size and weight. The creature smashes through the roof and escapes into the night. Gon and Kurapika are right on its heels, while Leorio stays behind to help the wounded man. The high-stakes chase begins now. "We gotta save her," Gon shouts, his eyes locked on the escaping beast. Kurapika tells Leorio to see to the man's injuries. Leorio nods, already pulling out his medical kit. "Good luck, SHK." Leorio starts treating the man's wounds. He's a doctor in training, and his skills are finally being put to the test. He works with a grim, focused intensity as the man moans in pain. Outside, Gon and Kurapika reach the forest edge. It ran into the forest. But which way? Kurapika is lost in the darkness, his human eyes unable to track the monster's incredibly swift movements and shadows. Gon, however, is perfectly calm. He closes his eyes, using his heightened senses to feel the beast's trail. He can hear its breath and smell its musk through the damp, cold night air. Gon detects a movement in the trees. He points toward the darkness, his eyes narrowing with a predator's focus. He's found the trail, and he's ready to follow it to the end. "This way," Gon shouts, launching himself into the trees with incredible speed. He's more at home in the forest than anywhere else, and the darkness holds no terror for him at all. Kurapika is stunned. He can barely see his own hand in front of his face, yet Gon is moving through the thick brush like it's broad daylight. The boy's abilities are truly supernatural and unique. Gon saw that fleeting shadow in the inky darkness. His eyes are capable of picking up the smallest movements, making him the ultimate tracker. He's closing the gap on the Kiriko rapidly. The chase is a high-speed pursuit through the canopy. Gon leaps from branch to branch, his movements fluid and instinctive. He's a natural force, driven by the desire to save a life tonight. Spring. Gon launches himself off a high branch, gaining ground. He's a blur of green against the dark trees. Kurapika follows as best he can, his mind racing to keep up with the boy. This kid is really something. Kurapika thinks to himself, he's seen many talented people, but Gon's raw potential and connection to nature are on a completely different level than anyone he has ever met. Gon is right behind the beast. He can see the Kiriko clutching the woman, its long limbs propelling it through the trees with terrifying ease. It looks back, surprised by the boy's relentless speed. Tump, tump! Gon's footsteps echo on the thick branches as he closes in for a strike. He's perfectly balanced, his fishing pole ready to be used as a weapon if needed to free the captive. "Let her go, you!" Gon screams, his voice filled with a righteous fury. He's not afraid of the monster. He's just angry that it's hurting someone innocent. The final confrontation is imminent in the canopy. The Kiriko lets out a low, guttural growl. Dren Nash. It bares its sharp teeth, its eyes glowing with a renewed malice. It won't give up its prize without a fight against this extraordinary boy. The Kiriko beast dashes away, cackling "make me" squirt after snatching the woman. It taunts Gon, daring him to keep up as it speeds through the treacherous woods. Gon is in hot pursuit, his eyes locked on the creature and its captive. He's not letting this magical beast get away without a fight for justice. Did you hear that? It talked, Gon exclaims, genuinely impressed by the creature's speech. Kurapika remains pragmatic, explaining that communication is exactly why they are classified as magical beasts. Kurapika warns the group that this is a Kiriko, a dangerous shapeshifter. They can take human form, making them master deceivers in these confusing, foggy woods. Gon sprints ahead with a determined smirk. If the beast can talk, he figures reasoning, or at least a direct challenge, will make this rescue mission a lot easier. Hey, fuzzy butt! Gon yells at the top of his lungs. He's using his signature bluntness to get the Kiriko's attention, and the insult definitely seems to work. The Kiriko is visibly annoyed, its sharp features twisting into a snarl. It didn't expect a human kid to be so disrespectful during such a high-stakes forest chase. Suddenly, the beast's eyes widen in shock. Gon has moved much faster than it anticipated, closing the gap between them in the blink of an eye. What? Such speed, the beast thinks, its confidence wavering. Before it can react, Gon is already airborne, ready to deliver a powerful strike with his fishing rod. Whack! Gon lands a direct hit right on the Kiriko's head. The impact is so powerful it forces the beast to drop its captive woman mid-air. Catcher Kurapika, Lach Gyo-on shouts while still in the air. He's focused on the beast, trusting his friend to handle the delicate rescue of the falling woman. Kurapika leaps into action, his reflexes sharp as ever. He positions himself perfectly to intercept the victim before she hits the hard, unforgiving forest floor. Phew. That was reckless, Kurapika sighs, safely holding the woman. He's relieved she's okay, but worried about Gon's dangerous and impulsive methods of rescue. The Kiriko recovers from the blow, landing on a tree branch with a heavy thump. It glares down, growling. You little brat, at the boy who dared strike it. I'll get you for this. The beast snarls before vanishing into the shadows. Gon watches it go, knowing the game of cat and mouse isn't over yet. Hey, come back! Gon calls out, but the creature is gone. He's left standing in the clearing, the wind whistling through the leaves as the tension lingers. A quiet moment follows as leaves drift slowly to the ground. The immediate danger has passed, but the forest remains thick with mystery and hidden threats. Kurapika remains with the rescued woman, checking on her condition. She lies still, exhausted from her ordeal, as the group regroups in the dim dappled light. How are you feeling? Any pain? Kurapika asks gently. The woman slowly wakes, her first thought being of her partner. Where's my husband? She looks up with fear in her eyes, trembling as she asks if he's all right. The trauma of the Kiriko's attack is still fresh in her mind. Kurapika reassures her, promising that Liario is looking after him. She begs to be taken to him immediately, her hands revealing strange, intricate tattoos on her wrists. Kurapika's gaze lingers on the markings. There is something familiar about them, a detail that catches his keen eye and makes him pause for a long second. These tattoos, Kurapika muses internally. He recognizes the ancient symbols, realizing there is more to this woman and this entire situation than meets the eye. The realization hits him like a bolt of lightning. Kurapika gasps, his eyes widening as he begins to piece together the true identity of their supposed victims. Liario emerges from the brush, calling out to Kurapika. He confirms that Gon is still deep in the woods, relentlessly chasing the shape-shifting beast. Is the man all right? Kurapika asks. Liario gives a casual thumb up, noting the husband was just knocked around a bit, but is ultimately fine. Liario explains he gave the man some painkillers and he's resting. He seems proud of his medical expertise, though Kurapika remains suspicious of the whole scene. Kurapika stares at Liario with a cold, piercing gaze. I see, he says softly, his hand slowly reaching for his wooden swords as his intuition screams. Without warning, Kurapika strikes. A massive whack echoes as he slams his weapon into Liario's face, catching the man completely off guard. The person posing as Liario is revealed to be another Kiriko. Its face distorts into a bizarre, elongated grin as the disguise melts away under Kurapika's blow. How'd you know? The beast asks, impressed. Kurapika explains that the real Leorio would never have left an injured man alone just to saunter out here. Kurapika admits it was a bit of a lucky mistake, but his judgment of Leorio's character was spot on. He knew his friend wouldn't abandon his duty. A close-up shows Kurapika's intense focus. He's not playing games anymore. He knows he's facing a master of deception and is ready for the next move. The Kiriko woman watches silently, her expression unreadable. The atmosphere is tense as the group's perception of reality continues to shift and crack. Now then, answer me this, Kurapika demands, pointing his weapon at the woman. He's ready to uncover the final layer of this elaborate test. Kurapika holds his sword crossed, his gaze sharp and uncompromising. He delivers the ultimate question. Who are you? The tension in the air is palpable. The woman remains still, her face half hidden in shadow. The mystery of the Kirikos is coming to a head, and the truth is finally about to surface. She lets out a soft, knowing heh. It's not a laugh of malice, but one of recognition. The game is over, and she knows they've been found out. She looks toward the dark horizon, her expression shifting from a victim to someone in control. The forest birds take flight as the truth settles in. Deep in the dark woods, Gon stands alone, his silhouette illuminated by the moon. He has reached the end of his chase and faces his own revelation. Gon stands calm and collected, his fishing rod at his side. He has cornered the beast, but the atmosphere has changed from hostile to curious. The Kiriko looms over him, its monstrous form silhouetted against the bright full moon. Despite the beast's size, Gon doesn't show a single ounce of fear. A close-up of the beast reveals its sharp eyes and fangs. It's assessing the boy, surprised by the sheer resolve and lack of trembling in his stance. Pretty good moves, kid, the beast admits with a toothy grin. It acknowledges that Gon actually managed to land a hit, something few humans can boast. The beast begins to transform, its body cracking and shifting as it prepares to reveal its true nature. But that stroke, it muses darkly, is gonna cost you. The beast bellows as it lunges forward. The air crackles with intensity as the final confrontation of the trial begins. Som! The Kiriko transforms into a massive, winged form looming over Gon with incredible presence. The sheer scale of the beast is enough to terrify anyone. Undeterred, Gon introduces himself with a friendly tilt of his head. My name's Gon. What's yours? He treats the monster like a new acquaintance. The Kiriko stops dead in its tracks, its eyes widening in pure bafflement. It has never met a human so casual in the face of certain doom. Scree! The sound of the beast's claws scraping the ground echoes through the woods. The shock of Gon's innocence has completely derailed its intended attack. Where's the beast I actually hit? Gon asks, looking around. He realizes this Kiriko is slightly different from the one he fought earlier in the night. Gon explains that he'll fight if he has to, but he knows this isn't the same creature. He's incredibly perceptive, noticing the subtle differences in their presence. How did you figure that out? The beast asks, genuinely stunned. It thought its disguise and species appearance were flawless to any human observer. Gon points out that the face is different and the voice is thinner and higher pitched. To him, the differences are as obvious as night and day. The Kiriko stares down at the boy in silence. It's a moment of profound realization. This child possesses senses and instincts that go far beyond normal humanity. The beast begins to chuckle. The initial threat has completely evaporated, replaced by deep amusement and respect for Gon's uncanny abilities. Hey honey, come here, the beast calls out, patting Gon on the head. You gotta check this out. It's time for the family reunion and the truth. Two identical-looking Kirikos crouch together, looking thoughtful. They are amazed that a human child could distinguish between them so easily and without any hesitation. It's been ages since a human was able to tell us apart, one muses. They are the navigators, the secret gatekeepers to the legendary hunter exam. Leorio asks Kurapika if he can tell them apart, to which Kurapika bluntly replies, not at all. Even the genius Kurapika is stumped by their similarity. Gon points out that the one he and Kurapika hit was the husband. He's got everyone figured out, even identifying the family roles of the shapeshifters. The Kirikos introduced their family. The victims were actually their son and daughter. As navigators, they've been testing the applicant's perception and character all along. The daughter explains her tattoos signify a vow of chastity, meaning she couldn't have a spouse. Only someone with Kurapika's vast knowledge would have spotted that. Kurapika's observation was the key. He didn't just see a victim, he saw a contradiction in her identity, proving his worth as a potential hunter. Liroyo, meanwhile, is embarrassed. He never figured out the trick, but his genuine compassion and medical skill didn't go unnoticed by the navigators. Despite being fooled, Leorio's exceptional first aid skills were praised. He acted with the heart of a true healer, even toward a disguised magical beast. He ministered to my needs with great diligence, the son says. Leorio blushes, mumbling that it wasn't nothing, though his pride is clearly soaring. As for Gon, the navigators praise his extraordinary agility and perception. They note that few humans have ever been so naturally gifted with such raw instinct. You all pass, the lead navigator declares. They offer to take the trio straight to the exam hall, a reward for passing their grueling screening process. Gond, Kurapika, and Leorio stand together, ready for the next step. They've proven their skills and their bonds, but the real challenge is only just beginning. Silhouetted against the moon, the group is carried toward the exam. They wonder, if the screening was this tough, what does the actual exam hold? Chapter 5. The first phase begins. Gon is seen leaping through the air with boundless energy, his eyes bright with the thrill of the upcoming adventure. The scene shifts to Zaban City, a sprawling metropolis filled with grand buildings and bustling crowds. This is where the world's most elite gather. A Kiriko in disguise leads them through the streets toward Subashi Street. The navigator's work isn't done until their charges reach the starting line. There, that's it, the navigator points out. Gon and his friends look on, expecting something grand and intimidating to mark the entrance of the exam. The exam hall? Wow! Gon exclaims. They stand before a massive, impressive structure, certain that such a legendary test must take place in a palace. The trio gazes up at a towering circular monument. It looks like the perfect setting for a world-class trial, radiating an aura of history and prestige. Leorio is impressed, thinking this is where the best of the best come to prove themselves. He's already feeling the weight of the grand occasion. Kurapika notes that aspiring hunters from all over the world are converging here. The sheer scale of the competition is starting to sink in. Gon wonders how his father felt at this exact moment during his first attempt. He feels closer to his goal and his father than ever before. I meant next door, the navigator interjects, pointing away from the grand building. The group's majestic expectations are suddenly brought back down to earth. The trio looks confused, their eyes following the navigator's finger. The real entrance isn't a palace at all, but something far more humble and unexpected. The exam hall turns out to be a small, unassuming restaurant. People go about their daily lives outside, completely unaware of the secret trial happening within. A greasy spoon? Leorio shouts, his jaw dropping in disbelief. He can't believe the prestigious hunter exam starts in such a common-looking dive. Leorio thinks it's a gag, but the navigator explains that the inconspicuous nature is intentional. A real hunter should be able to find the truth anywhere. That's it exactly. The navigator smiles. The best secrets are often hidden in plain sight, and this humble dive is no exception to that rule. They step inside to the sound of sizzling food. The chef welcomes them warmly, though there's an undeniable edge of mystery to his friendly greeting. What'll it be? The chef asks. The navigator orders the steak combo, which is clearly a code for the applicants to proceed to the next stage. Grilled or broiled? The chef responds, his eyes narrowing. This is the final verbal password required to unlock the secret door to the hunter exam. Grilled, over low flame, the navigator answers precisely. The secret code is complete, and the chef nods, signaling for them to follow him. A waitress leads them toward the back. This way, please, she says cheerfully, opening a door that leads to a seemingly normal dining room. With a heavy CHNK, the door locks behind them. The room begins to vibrate, revealing that this dining area is actually a massive secret elevator. The trio sits in silence as the elevator descends deep underground. The reality of the exam is finally starting to set in as they leave the world above. The navigator reveals the staggering odds. Only 1 in 10,000 people even make it this far. The true elite are just starting their journey. He wishes them luck, noting that getting this far on their first run is quite an achievement. The pressure is on, and the stakes are immense. Good luck the rest of the way, the navigator says with a wave. He tells them to look him up next year, assuming they'll be back for more. With a final slick, the navigator departs. Gone, Kurapika and Larieri are left alone in the descending room, heading toward their destiny. The elevator continues its long descent into the dark earth. The mechanical sound is the only thing filling the heavy silence between the friends. Leorio is annoyed, eating a piece of steak while grumbling about the navigator's low expectations. He's determined to prove that they'll make it this year. Third year's the charm, Kurapika notes. He explains that for many, it takes multiple attempts just to survive the first phase of the grueling exam. Kurapika shares a grim statistic. On average, a talented rookie only triumphs every 3 years. The path ahead is paved with failure and broken dreams. Many rookies crack under the pressure, while others are crushed by veteran applicants who have turned the exam into their personal playground. Gon listens intently, his expression serious. He begins to ask the big question. So why? Do so many people want to be hunters? Gon wonders why so many people are willing to push themselves through this grinder. What is it about being a hunter that is worth all this risk? Leorio and Kurapika look at him, each with their own very different reasons. The contrast between their motivations is about to become very clear. Don't you know anything about anything, kid? Leorio shouts, shocked by Gon's innocence. He thinks the answer is the most obvious thing in the world. Leorio declares that being a hunter is the most lucrative and noble career there is. For him, it's all about the money and the prestige. Kurapika glares at Leorio, clearly disagreeing with his mercenary outlook. The tension between their ideologies sparks as the elevator continues its descent. Money grubber, Kurapika snaps. Goody goody, Leorio retorts. The two are back at each other's throats, leaving Gon caught in the middle once again. Kurapika explains that a true hunter's job is to secure order and protect cultural artifacts. Leorio counters with the immense wealth and carte blanche access a license provides. Leorio turns back to Gon, demanding to know what being a hunter means to him. He wants to see if the kid has a real reason for being here. A career, sure, but... Gon starts, but he's interrupted by a loud bing. The elevator has finally reached its destination deep underground. The display flashes B100. They have descended 100 floors beneath the surface of Zaban City into the heart of the secret exam grounds. Ah, we're here, Leorio says, his tone shifting back to business. He tells Gon to hold that thought as the doors slowly begin to slide open. The mechanical whir fades as the elevator settles. The anticipation is at a breaking point. The world of the hunters is just on the other side. B100. The trio steps out of the elevator and into the shadows of the tunnel. They're finally, officially, at the start of the hunter exam. The doors open to a massive tunnel filled with hundreds of the world's most dangerous and skilled individuals. The air is thick with murderous intent and power. Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio stand at the edge of the crowd, taking in the scale of the competition. The tunnel stretches out endlessly before them. A panel of stone-cold faces highlights the intensity of the other applicants. These aren't just people, they are predators waiting for the starting whistle. The group feels the pressure. Even Leorio is sweating, realizing that every single person in this room is a potential threat to their success. Leorio gulps audibly. The reality of his 1 in 10,000 boast is standing right in front of him, and it's a lot more intimidating in person. Kurapika whispers the terrifying truth. Everyone here is 1 in 10,000. They are surrounded by the elite of the elite, and there's no turning back. They're clearly experts in their fields, Kurapika observes. He notes that not a single person in the crowd looks like a loser. Every face radiates competence. The tunnel is described as mighty gloomy, resembling a massive, endless subway tunnel. It's an oppressive environment designed to break the weak-willed. Gon wonders just how many applicants are here. He's curious rather than afraid, his eyes scanning the diverse crowd for interesting faces and weapons. A small, bean-shaped man approaches them with a tray of badges. He's the official registrar, here to give them their identification numbers for the exam. With you, there are now 405, the man informs them. Only 405 people out of tens of thousands of applicants managed to even find the entrance. The trio takes their badges, 403, 403, all four, and 405. These numbers will be their only names for the duration of the trial. The clock is finally ticking. A friendly-looking man sitting on a pipe greets them. "Name's Tonpa," he says with a wave. He quickly gathers that the trio are new to the exam. The registrar finishes handing out badges as Tonpa continues his friendly chatter. He seems strangely out of place in this room of cold-blooded warriors. Tonpa reveals this is his 35th attempt. He started when he was only 10 years old. 35th? Gon asks, his eyes wide with shock. Tonpa proudly calls himself an expert examinee. He offers to help them with anything they want to know, playing the role of a helpful veteran. He sounds proud of it. Leorio whispers to Kurapika. He's baffled that someone would be so happy about failing 34 years in a row. Tonpa offers to point out some of the regulars. He seems to know everyone's history, acting as a walking encyclopedia of the Hunter exam's repeated failures. Tonpa points out Bourbon, a snake charmer and tenacious competitor. He warns that getting on Bourbon's bad side is a mistake you won't live to regret. Next is Cherry, a master of unarmed combat. According to Tonpa, he's the best in the room when it comes to fighting with bare hands. Then there's Toto the wrestler, who is strong as anything and far smarter than his bulky appearance suggests. He's a well-rounded threat to everyone. The Amori brothers are highlighted for their incredible teamwork. They specialize in group tactics and have been getting better with every passing year. Greta, the huntsman, is described as darn handy with blow darts and clubs. He looks like a specialized killer who knows exactly how to track prey. Tonpa notes these are just a sample of the capable people who haven't made the grade yet. The sheer level of talent in the room is overwhelming. Suddenly, a blood-curdling "G-ah" echoes through the tunnel. Tonpa and Gon spin around, their eyes wide as the atmosphere instantly shifts from talk to terror. A man screams in agony as his arms literally dissolve into flower petals. Behind him stands a flamboyant figure with red hair, calmly declaring, "Behold, now you see them, now you don't," the red-haired man says with a smirk. No tricks involved. He has just maimed a fellow applicant with terrifying ease. He's back. Too bad, Tonpa mutters, his friendly facade flickering with genuine fear. He clearly recognizes the dangerous man who just caused the scene. Tonpa identifies him as Hisoka the magician. Last year, Hisoka was disqualified for attacking an examiner he didn't approve of. He's a total wild card, and they didn't tell him to take a hike for good? Leorio asks, horrified. He can't believe such a violent person is allowed back for another attempt. Tonpa explains that because examiners change every year, the tests and the standards are always different. Hisoka gets a clean slate every time. A dark silhouette looms as Tonpa delivers a chilling truth. The devil himself can pass, if an examiner says it's okay. The rules are absolute. Hisoka took out 20 examinees last year just for fun. Tonpa warns the trio to steer clear of him if they want to survive the day. Tonpa continues his helpful tour, noting there are many others like Hisoka. He offers to show them the ropes, seemingly eager to help the rookies. Behind his friendly smile, Tonpa's true nature is revealed. The latest hapless victims of Rookie Crusher, Tonpa. He's not a friend, he's a saboteur. Tonpa rummages through his bag, suggesting a toast to celebrate their new friendship. He seems perfectly harmless as he pulls out a set of cans. Tonpa presents 3 cans of juice, his eyes glinting with a hidden, malicious intent. The Rookie Crusher is about to make his first move. Tonpa proposes a toast. Drink a toast to friendship and luck. He takes a big gulp of his own juice, making a show of safety. Sure, Gon, Leorio, and Kurapika agree, each taking a can. They are completely unaware that they are falling straight into Tonpa's practice trap. Tonpa's monologue reveals the juice contains a super-strength laxative. One sip is enough to ruin their chances and put them out of the exam for days. Gon, Leorio, and Kurapika prepare to drink. Tonpa watches with bated breath, eager to see his latest victims crumble before the real test even begins. Suddenly, Gon spits the juice out with a loud yuck. He looks disgusted, while Tonpa freezes, his irk betraying his absolute shock at being found out. Taste weird, Tampa. It must have gone bad. Really? Gon says. Tampa sweats, stammering that it's odd while trying to keep his cool and facade. Tonpa is panicking internally. The laxative is supposed to be odorless and tasteless. He wonders what kind of insane taste buds this kid must have. Leorio and Kurapika follow Gon's lead and pour their juice out. Tonpa is left stunned, his opening gambit completely dismantled by a boy's sharp tongue. The massive tunnel remains dark and crowded as the applicants wait. The failed sabotage has left a strange, lingering tension between Tampa and the rookies. Tonpa bows deeply, offering his "my deepest apple OGs" for the bad juice. He's trying desperately to salvage his friendly reputation and stay close to them. All that's okay, Tanta, Gon says with his usual kindness. He's completely forgiven the man, unaware that the mistake was actually a deliberate, malicious attack. Gon explains that his tongue is trained to detect anything iffy from his life in the forest. His survival instincts are proving to be a perfect defense. Tonpa realizes Gon is no knave twerp, but a feral savant. He's frustrated that his opening gambit failed so spectacularly against such an unusual and gifted opponent. Tonpa moves on to a new target, frustrated by the cookies he can't crack. He's looking for someone easier to manipulate with his usual tricks. He approaches applicant number 294, Hanzo. Hanzo is a bald man with a stern expression, standing with his arms crossed in a position of focus and power. Hanzo immediately starts yakking as soon as Tampa says hello. He's a major talker, which Tampa thinks might make him an easy mark for manipulation. Hanzo reveals he's actually a ninja, looking for a legendary scroll. He's surprisingly open about his secret identity and his high-stakes goals for the upcoming exam. Hanzo thinks chatting helps lighten the dismal mood around here. He seems friendly enough, but there's a sharp edge to his jovial, talkative personality. Tonpa tries his juice trick again. What say we drink to that, he asks, holding out a can. He's hoping Hanzo's talkative nature means he's careless. Suddenly, the air around Hanzo changes. His eyes become cold and sharp, radiating a sudden intense pressure that catches the sneaky Tonpa completely off guard. The shinobi eat and drink nothing offered to them by others, Hanzo says sternly. He's seen through Tampa's trick without even trying, showing his training. Trusts no one but himself, Tonpa realizes, sweating. He sees the assassin's eyes in Hanzo and realizes he's found another applicant far beyond his league. Tonpa moves on to applicant 187, Nicholas. Nicholas is a stout man with a laptop, looking very official and out of place in a physical test. One moment please, Nicholas says, typing away. He's a data-driven applicant who seems to be cataloging every person and threat in the room. Nicholas reveals he knows all about Tampa's 35 attempts. He even knows that Tampa holds the record for consecutive tries at 30. Nicholas calls Tampa out as the rookie crusher. He coldly declines Tampa's overtures, knowing exactly what the veteran is trying to do to the naive newcomers. Finally, Tampa looks at applicant 301. The man is covered in strange pins and has a bizarre, haunting appearance that radiates pure, unfiltered creepiness and danger. Who's just too creepy? I decided to take a pass, Tampa thinks, backing away. The man makes a strange clicking sound that chills Tampa's blood. Tampa reflects that only one of them actually drank my juice. He looks across the tunnel at a young boy with white, spiky hair and a skateboard. The boy stands alone, looking bored. He seems younger than most of the other applicants, yet he carries himself with a strange, quiet, and deadly confidence. This is applicant number 99, Killua. He's a mystery to everyone, a child among monsters who seems perfectly at home in the dark shadows. Tonpa thinks Killua is clearly clueless and still has lots to learn about life. He's waiting for the laxative to kick in and take the kid out. Killua stands with his hands in his pockets, his expression neutral. He's an enigma, his true power hidden behind a mask of youthful and cool indifference. Tonpa, can you spare another can of that juice? Killua asks. Tonpa is stunned, his jaw nearly hitting the floor in total, utter confusion. I'm T Yerstai as anything. Must be nerves, huh? Killua says with a grin. Tonpa wonders how the kid is even still standing at all. Killua chugs another can of juice with a satisfied gulp. He's already finished several, yet he shows absolutely no signs of the laxative's potent effects. Smack! Yummy! What's up? The first one should have kicked in by now. Killua chirps. Tompa is spiraling, wondering why the poison hasn't worked yet. Tompa knows that 5 of those should make someone die of dehydration. He watches in horror as Killua continues to drink the poison like it's water. It's okay. Killua says simply. Tonpa's irk perfectly captures his growing dread. This kid isn't just unusual. He's something else entirely, something terrifying. Killua looks at Tompa with a knowing smirk. I've built up my resistance, he explains, his eyes glinting with a dangerous and hidden history. No poison will kill me, Killua declares. Tonpa is left trembling, realizing that even the most lethal drugs are useless against this terrifying young rookie. This year's rookie are just too strange, Tonpa sighs. He's never encountered a group so immune to his sabotage in all his 35 years of trying. A close-up of Tompa's face shows a shift in his mood. The initial frustration is being replaced by a twisted sense of dark anticipation, which means this exam's gonna be fun, Tompa grins. The challenge of breaking these strange gifted rookies is exactly what he lives for during the exam. BRRRR. A massive alarm-like sound suddenly blares through the tunnel, shaking the very walls. The crowd falls silent as the signal for the start echoes loudly. The applicants look toward the source of the noise. A strange, mechanical mouth-like device on a wall is emitting the deafening, vibrating sound to everyone. A man in a purple suit appears. He holds a small, clicking device, his expression calm and professional as the deafening noise continues to shake the tunnel. As of now, registration is closed, the examiner declares. The time for talk is over. The Hunter exam has officially, finally, and truly begun. The Hunter exam will now begin. Everyone ready? Good. Satods announces to the 404 applicants. The atmosphere is thick with lethal, high-stakes anticipation. Satods performs a strange, buoying leap, showing off the bit of his incredible physical ability right from the start. He's clearly no ordinary human being. This way, please, Satods says, turning and walking into the darkness of the tunnel. The applicants follow, their first trial beginning with a simple walk. Just so there's no mistake, the Hunter exam is very rigorous. Satods explains as he walks. His pace is steady, his voice echoing through the long tunnel. He warns that examinees are not above Savatog and each other, as they've already seen. He's laying out the brutal reality of the world they've entered. If you're okay with that, then you're welcome to continue, Satods says. He's giving them one last chance to turn back before things get truly dangerous. The crowd begins to move as one, the sound of marching filling the air. The long march into the unknown has officially and rhythmically started. Shuff! Shuffs! The applicants fall into step, a sea of potential hunters moving deeper into the earth behind their mysterious, purple-suited guide. The mechanical T-cap of their footsteps becomes a rhythmic drumbeat. The first phase is underway, and the final destination is anyone's guess at this point. Still with me? Good. You 404 applicants may enter the first phase. Satods says over his shoulder. He is leading them into the heart of the exam. Satods notes that apart from the armless man from Hisoka's attack, everyone is still here. He had hoped a few more would chicken out early. This is odd. Gon whispers as they walk. He's noticed something strange about the way Satods moves, his instincts picking up on a subtle anomaly. Close-ups of Satods' feet show a peculiar rhythmic tup-up gait. He isn't just walking, he's moving with a precision that defies normal human physics. Troop, troop. The pace is gradually increasing, the steady walk transforming into a light jog as the tunnel seems to stretch on forever before them. Say, what's Liario starts to ask. The crowd is beginning to sweat as the simple walk becomes more demanding with every passing second and mile. Suddenly, Satods takes off with a wash rush. The first phase of the Hunter exam, a grueling endurance test, has truly and finally begun in earnest. The crowd lunges forward with a sudden burst of energy. Satods leads the way with an uncanny, rhythmic stride that leaves the applicants scrambling just to keep him in their sights. Confusion ripples through the ranks as the steady rhythmic thumping of hundreds of feet fills the tunnel. The pace is deceptive, and the silence from the front is unnerving for many candidates. Lario wipes his brow, his face twisted in annoyance. He grumbles to himself, wondering why everyone is suddenly in such a frantic rush so early in the long, grueling exam process. Kurapika observes the shift with a keen eye, noting that the lead pack has transitioned into a full run. Gon nods enthusiastically, ready to meet the challenge head-on as the pace intensifies. Thrum, thrum, thrum. The sound of heavy boots hitting the pavement becomes a deafening roar. Every step is a testament to the endurance required to survive this first stage of the trial. With professional poise, Satats formally introduces himself as the examiner. He's not just a leader. He is the gatekeeper to the next phase, and his pace will be their ultimate measuring stick. Puzzled looks are exchanged among the runners. The simplicity of the task seems almost too good to be true, leaving many to wonder what the catch really is behind this marathon. A confused applicant shouts out, questioning the sequence of events. Satats simply replies that this run is the exam, though the realization doesn't seem to make the task any easier for them. The applicants move like a surging tide through the darkness of the tunnel. Each face shows a different level of resolve, ranging from calm determination to the first flickers of rising panic. Satats clarifies the rules with chilling simplicity. All you have to do is keep up with me. It's a basic command, yet it carries the weight of a 1,000-mile journey ahead of them. The mystery deepens as the examiner refuses to reveal their destination or the duration of the run. To find out, they must simply follow into the unknown depths of the tunnel. Lario and Kurapika debate the nature of the test. While Lario sees it as a simple endurance run, Kurapika senses the psychological trap it's the uncertainty of the finish line that truly breaks men. Lario remains stubbornly confident in his physical prowess, claiming he can keep up with anyone. He believes as long as he can breathe, he can finish, dismissive of the mental strain Kurapika describes. Kurapika warns that not knowing how far they must go will eventually test their mental resilience. In a trial like this, a strong body is nothing without a mind that refuses to quit. Suddenly, a silver-haired boy on a skateboard zips past the group with effortless grace. Killua glides through the crowd, looking entirely bored by the supposed difficulty of the first phase of the exam. Lario's temper flares instantly. He points an accusing finger at Killua, screaming that using a skateboard is blatant cheating in an endurance test. He's absolutely livid at the boy's lack of effort. Killua looks back with a cool, nonchalant stare, completely unfazed by Lario's shouting. The contrast between the boy's calm demeanor and Lario's frantic rage highlights the massive gap in their mental focus. Gon chiming in only makes it worse for Lario. The boy points out that the examiner never actually said they had to run. They only had to follow. It's a technicality Lario hates. Kurapika dryly notes that yelling only wastes precious energy. Lario is left fuming, his glasses fogging up as he realizes his friend is right, even if it feels incredibly unfair to him. Killua slows his pace to match Gon's, eyeing the energetic boy with newfound curiosity. There's a silent recognition of talent between the two young candidates as they maintain their steady, effortless stride. Killua strikes up a conversation, asking Gon how old he is. The casual atmosphere between them is a stark contrast to the desperate struggling of many of the adult applicants around them. Gon cheerfully replies that he's almost 12 years old. The two share a look of surprise, realizing they are roughly the same age, which is a rarity among the elite hunter applicants. Killua acknowledges their shared age with a simple "me too," though his internal thoughts seem much more complex. He wonders if this boy might actually be someone worth paying attention to. With a sudden flourish, Killua kicks up his board and catches it. He decides he'll run for a bit, introducing himself as Killua. Gon beams with a wide grin, introducing himself in return. Killua playfully calls Lario Pops, which causes the tall man to explode in a comical fury. He screams that he's not even 20 yet, much to the amusement of the boys nearby. Lario is absolutely devastated by Gon's sudden friendship with the skater kid. He dramatically declares their friendship over, while Kurapika remains focused and refuses to get involved in their childish antics. The sound of hundreds of feet continues to echo. The group of four runs together now, a strange mix of personalities forged in the heat of this seemingly endless, darkened underground marathon. The camera pans across the diverse group of candidates. Some look strong, others look exhausted, but all are united by the rhythmic thumping of their hearts and boots against the cold stone floor. Isoka, the mysterious and deadly clown, maintains a terrifyingly calm expression as he moves. He's not even breaking a sweat, his eyes fixed forward with a predatory gleam of boredom. A massive block of applicants continues to surge forward. The tunnel feels claustrophobic, but for now, the crowd remains thick, the weaker links haven't quite reached their breaking points just yet. Other applicants, like the bald man with a serious gaze, stay focused on Satotz's back. Every runner knows that losing sight of the purple-haired examiner means an immediate failure and disqualification. Satotz moves like a ghost, his long legs covering ground with impossible efficiency. He hasn't looked back once, completely indifferent to the suffering of those struggling to keep up with his pace. The focus shifts back to our main group. The initial excitement has faded, replaced by the grim reality of a long-distance run that has no end in sight and no mercy for anyone. Kurapika performs a mental calculation. They've been running for 3 hours and have covered nearly 40 kilometers already. It's a pace that would leave even professional athletes gasping for air and water. Kurapika notes that some applicants must have dropped out by now, though the main pack is still surprisingly large. The thrum-thrum of the crowd is becoming the only constant in their world. The question lingers in the air like a heavy fog. How much longer can they keep this up? The tunnel stretches into an infinite blackness, mocking their effort with every passing kilometer they run. Leorio is struggling significantly now, his face drenched in sweat and his breathing coming in ragged, painful gulps. He realizes with a shock of fear that this situation is completely insane. 5 hours. They've been at it for 5 hours. Leorio's internal monologue is a frantic mess of disbelief as he tries to process the sheer scale of the endurance test they are enduring. He looks around in disbelief, seeing that despite the extreme duration, almost no one has dropped out yet. The realization that he is surrounded by elite applicants makes his own struggle feel worse. Gon looks back with genuine concern, asking Leorio how he's doing. Leorio can barely muster a thumbs up, his energy almost completely drained by the relentless, non-stop pounding of the tunnel run. Leorio admits to himself that he severely underestimated the competition. He didn't expect such a tough first phase, or that the other applicants would be this incredibly resilient and powerful compared to himself. He feels seriously outclassed by the cream of the crop around him. The pressure is mounting, and the reality of his own limits is staring him right in the face through blurry lenses. Leorio thinks about the staggering odds against him. With only one rookie passing every few years, he feels like a small fish in a very large and dangerous pond of veteran hunter hopefuls. Despair finally sets in. He convinces himself he's finished, done, and kaput. He believes an ordinary guy like him never really stood a chance in this world of superhuman athletes and experts. With a heavy hump, Leorio drops his suitcase and his shoulders slump. He begins to fall behind, his feet dragging as the main group slowly disappears into the dark tunnel ahead of him. Gon stops in his tracks and looks back, his eyes wide with shock. Seeing Leorio standing alone and defeated in the distance hits him hard, and he refuses to just keep running away. Killua calls out to Gon, telling him to forget about Leorio. In Killua's eyes, the man has already failed, and stopping now will only put Gon's own exam results at serious risk. Killua urges him to keep moving, insisting that this is just how it goes in the hunter exam. People fall behind, and you have to leave them if you want to succeed yourself. Leorio is hunched over, wheezing and clutching his knees. He looks broken, a lonely figure in the vast, empty tunnel. While the sounds of the other runners fade into the distance behind him, a moment of intense silence passes. Leorio grits his teeth, his face contorted with shame and frustration. He calls his own weakness crap, a final spark of anger lighting up in his eyes. Suddenly, Leorio lets out a thunderous roar. He screams his motivation to the heavens. He came here to become a hunter, and he isn't going to let some tunnel be his end. Or more, with a massive surge of adrenaline, Leorio charges forward like a man possessed. His clothes are disheveled, but his spirit is absolutely on fire as he chases after the retreating crowd. He bolts past the boys with surprising speed. his face a mask of pure, unadulterated determination. The exhaustion is still there, but it's being burned away by the sheer heat of his ambition. Kurapika is genuinely surprised, watching the tall man sprint past him with a renewed sense of purpose. It seems Leorio found a second wind in the deepest part of his own despair. Gon smiles, relieved and proud of his friend's refusal to give up. He knew Leorio had more in him, and seeing that fiery spirit return brings a bright spark to Gon's face. Gon realizes Leorio left his suitcase behind in his mad dash. He quickly pulls out his signature fishing rod, his eyes focused as he prepares to make a very specialized catch while running. With a sharp twick, the line is cast. Gon's precision is incredible as he aims for the distant suitcase, demonstrating the skills he honed back home on Whale Island as a master fisherman. The line flies true through the air. Gon's expertise with the rod is on full display as the hook glides toward the target with the grace of a soaring bird in flight. Snag! The hook catches perfectly on the handle of Leorio's abandoned suitcase. Gon's aim was flawless, proving that he is much more than just a fast runner in this grueling exam. Gank! With a powerful tug, Gon reels the heavy suitcase toward him. He manages the weight effortlessly, tucking the bag under his arm without even losing his rhythm or slowing his pace. Killua is impressed. He's never seen anyone use a fishing rod like that before. He watches Gon with a mix of wonder and respect, realizing the boy has some truly unique and cool tricks. The boys start a playful trade. Killua wants to try the fishing rod, and Gon is eager to give the skateboard a go. Their friendship is solidifying even under this extreme pressure. 60 kilometers in and counting, and the number of dropouts is still officially 0. The tunnel run has become a war of attrition that the applicants are, for now, miraculously winning against fatigue. Elsewhere in the tunnel, another applicant is at his breaking point. He repeats "not possible" like a desperate prayer, his mind unable to comprehend that his body is finally failing him so completely. The internal monologue of the failing candidate becomes a chaotic mess of disbelief. He's always been unbeatable in his own world, but here, the brutal reality of the exam is crushing his spirit. He remembers his status as #1 in academics and sports, dismissing everyone else as riffraff. This arrogance makes his current failure all the more agonizing as he gasps for every breath. The thought of being a dropout or a loser is inconceivable to him. His entire identity is tied to being the best, and that identity is shattering with every step he can't take. The words, "I did," and failure scream in the darkness of his mind. The psychological element Kurapika warned about has claimed its first victim, as the candidate's mental armor finally gives way to despair. The applicant, Nicholas, is a pathetic sight drenched in sweat, crying and wheezing. His eyes are wide with a mix of exhaustion and absolute horror as he realizes his body has reached its limit. He collapses to the ground, his laptop and dignity discarded in the dust. He gasps and pants, a broken man who can no longer find the strength to even stand, let alone run. Crash! His expensive laptop hits the pavement, a symbol of his former superiority now shattered and useless. He's left behind in the gloom as the remaining candidates continue their relentless march forward. The other runners don't even slow down. They recognize a fallen comrade with clinical detachment, noting that he's hit the wall and is officially done, leaving him to rot in the tunnel's shadows. A few applicants can't resist mocking the fallen rookie as they pass. They laugh and call him a slowpoke, their cruelty fueled by the relief that it isn't them on the floor. Yet, one man mocks the exhausted Nicholas, noting it's only been 6 hours. He laughs at the rookie who is all tuckered out, adding to the psychological weight of the man's crushing failure. Nicholas looks up with a tear-streaked face, hearing himself called a baby. The insults sting, but his body is too far gone to offer any defense or even a retort to the bullies. The insults continue to rain down as the group moves past. They mock his presence in the exam, asking how a loser like him even got this far, and awarding him the pathetic trophy. The final insult echoes through the tunnel. Go home to Mummy. Nicholas is left in a dark, empty void, the sound of the laughing crowd slowly fading away as his hunter dreams die. 80 kilometers into the exam and the first official dropout is recorded. Nicholas kneels in the center of the vast tunnel, a solitary figure of defeat as the number of candidates drops to one less. Tonpaw, the infamous rookie crusher, receives a quiet "nice job" from his accomplices. They exchange smug glances, satisfied that their subtle psychological tactics have successfully claimed another victim among the newcomers. Tampa feigns a bit of sympathy, saying it's kinda sad to see a rookie go down, though his face tells a much different story of cold, calculated satisfaction in his malicious hobby. He admits he lives for it, admitting his love for finding a person's weakness and exploiting it. Tampa's true nature as a predator in the shadows of the exam is laid bare here. The group marvels at the quality of this year's newbies, noting it's surprising that only one has dropped out after 80 kilometers. They realize they'll have to work harder to break this crop. Suddenly, a different sound begins to echo from the front of the line. The steady thrum-thrum changes tone as the ground begins to incline, indicating a new and more difficult challenge is starting. Applicants look up in surprise as the flat tunnel floor is replaced by something else. The word "look" ripples through the crowd as they realize the easy part of the run is over. A massive, seemingly endless set of stairs stretches into the darkness above. The change in terrain is a shock to everyone's already burning muscles, and it signifies the start of a true trial. The scale of the staircase is staggering, spiraling up like the inside of a giant shell. The applicants groan at the sight, knowing that climbing stairs is far more taxing than running on level ground. Satats looks back for the first time, his expression calm but firm. He decides it's time to pick up the pace a bit, signaling a final, brutal push toward the surface and the exit. With an incredible stride, Satats begins to ascend the stairs. He moves with an effortless, long-legged gait that seems to defy the laws of exhaustion, putting immediate distance between himself and the crowd. The applicants are left gasping in disbelief. Satats' speed is increasing just as they are reaching their physical limits, and the climb becomes a desperate scramble to keep him in sight through the gloom. They grumble about how easy he makes it look, like he's just out for a Sunday stroll. The contrast between his ease and their desperate, sweating struggle is demoralizing for many of the candidates. The climb is relentless. Each step is a battle against gravity and fatigue. The sound of thrum-thrum becomes a frantic, uneven beat as runners start to stumble and gasping for every breath. Veteran applicants predict that many more will fall on this leg of the journey. The stairs are the perfect filter designed to weed out those who have heart but lack the necessary physical strength. Leorio has reached a state of pure adrenaline-fueled madness. He stripped off his shirt and is charging up the stairs with a wild look in his eyes, his breathing coming in heavy, frantic puffs. A close-up of Leorio's face reveals the intensity of his resolve. He's completely focused on the climb, his glasses long gone and his face a mask of sweat and pure, unadulterated grit and willpower. Kurapika keeps pace alongside him, asking how he's holding up. Despite the heat and the stairs, Kurapika remains surprisingly composed, a sharp contrast to Leorio's explosive and noisy display of effort and energy. Leorio shouts that he's never better. He explains he found a new source of energy once he stopped caring about his appearance and focused entirely on the goal of moving forward and surviving. He's in high spirits, even joking about stripping naked if it means he can keep up. His newfound determination is infectious, and he encourages the others to move ahead if they're embarrassed by him. Kurapika smiles to himself, appreciating Leorio's honest, if somewhat eccentric, display of heart. It's a rare moment of levity in the middle of a brutal, soul-crushing test of their physical and mental endurance. Kurapika admits Leorio makes a good point about shedding unnecessary weight. In a symbolic move, he casts aside his own blue outer garment, lightening his load for the final, steep climb up the stairs. Kurapika remains serious as he runs, his eyes fixed forward. He has a question burning in his mind, and now that the initial frantic rush has settled into a steady climb, he finally asks it. He asks Leorio if money is really the only thing he's after in becoming a hunter. Leorio snaps back, telling him to save his energy for running instead of wasting it on useless chit-chat. Kurapika persists, questioning if money is truly a worthy motivation for someone as dedicated as Leorio. He senses there's a deeper reason behind the man's desperate struggle to pass this elite and dangerous exam. Leorio dismisses him, calling him an indiscreet fool. He maintains his gruff exterior, refusing to let Kurapika see the vulnerabilities that drive him to put his life on the line for a hunter license. Kurapika argues that money-hungry people usually lack the level of dedication Lario is showing. He believes Lario's drive is fueled by something much more significant than a desire for simple material wealth and riches. Lario huffs and dismisses the assessment, telling Kurapika he knows nothing about his true motives. He maintains his defensive stance, even as the two of them continue to climb higher and higher together. The climb continues in a tense silence. The rhythmic sound of their footsteps on the stone steps is the only thing heard as they both grapple with their own internal reasons for being here. Kurapika finally speaks of his own motivation, the scarlet eyes. The mere mention of it brings a heavy weight of tragedy to the conversation, silencing even the boisterous and energetic Liario for a moment. Kurapika reveals the dark history of the Kurta clan. Their eyes were the reason they were targeted, a unique biological trait that turned into a curse for his people at the hands of monsters. Lario listens intently as they run, the weight of Kurapika's story adding a new layer of gravity to their mission. He can feel the deep, simmering anger and pain behind Kurapika's measured words. He explains that the eyes turn a fiery scarlet when they are emotional. It's a beautiful but dangerous trait, unique to the Kurta people, and it made them targets for the world's most greedy. Tragically, the irises stay that vibrant color even in death. This beauty has made the eyes a highly sought-after collector's item on the black market, regarded as one of the 7 most beautiful colors. Liario asks if that's why the Phantom Troop attacked them. Kurapika remains silent for a moment, the memory of his clan's destruction clearly haunting him even after all the years that have passed since. He confirms the horror. Every single body was found with its eyes missing. His people were slaughtered not for territory or ideology, but for a commodity that only death could create for the killers. Kurapika's voice is cold with resolve. He has sworn to capture the Phantom Troop and recover the eyes of his fallen clan. It is his life's mission, a debt of honor to his kinsmen. Lario pants, taking in the sheer scale of the task Kurapika has set for himself. It's a mission of vengeance and restoration that makes the simple goal of making money seem incredibly small by comparison. Lario points out the harsh reality. The eyes are likely scattered across the globe in the hands of the wealthy and powerful, people that a normal person could never hope to get close to. Kurapika agrees, stating that's exactly why he needs to become a hunter. A license will grant him the access and information he needs to navigate the dark underbelly of high society crime and black market deals. Lario expresses disgust for hunters who sell their pride to serve rich clients. He hates the idea of being a dog for a reward, showing his own strong, if somewhat hidden sense of honor. Kurapika replies that his own pride means nothing compared to the suffering of his people. He's willing to do whatever it takes, even working for those he despises, to achieve his ultimate and sacred goal. Lario is left speechless by Kurapika's intensity. He mumbles a quiet apology, realizing he's judged his companion far too harshly, and without knowing the heavy burden the blonde young man carries in his heart. Despite the heavy story, Lario stubbornly clings to his own claim. Money is all I'm after. He refuses to elaborate further, leaving his own true motivations shrouded in mystery as they continue the climb. The heat of the marathon is nothing compared to the fire in Kurapika's eyes. He fiercely challenges Lario's cynical worldview, insisting that some things are far too precious for a price tag. Lario isn't backing down, shouting over the sound of their rhythmic footsteps. To him, the world is a cold marketplace where even a human life can be bought and sold if the price is right. His voice drips with a bitter reality as he claims that even the most sacred things, hearts and dreams, are mere commodities. It's a dark perspective forged by a history we have yet to see. Kurapika is visibly repulsed by the heartless sentiment, but Lario snaps back, revealing a sliver of his past a friend who died simply because they lacked the money to pay for his life. In the background, the relentless climb continues. While some argue philosophy, hundreds of others are focused solely on the agonizing ascent, their silhouettes blurred by the sheer effort of the hunter exam. The tension softens as Kurapika asks a quiet, somber question about the friend's illness. Lario stares ahead, the memory clearly weighing heavier on him than the physical exhaustion of the run. It's a tragedy of economics. Leorio explains that a simple surgery could have saved his friend, but the cost was so obscene it might as well have been a death sentence for the poor. Here we see the true heart of Leorio Paradinite. He wants to become a doctor so he can heal children for free, ensuring no one else has to suffer because of an empty pocketbook. Leorio laughs a hollow, self-deprecating laugh. The irony is staggering to become a doctor who helps the poor. He first needs a fortune just to pay for the astronomical cost of medical school. He admits with desperate honesty that money is his driving force. It's not greed, but a necessary means to a noble end, fueling his every stride up these endless grueling stairs. Kurapika watches him in silence, his judgment finally replaced by a deep, newfound respect. He realizes that Larioi's crass exterior is just a shield for a deeply compassionate soul. The journey is far from over. Halfway up the stairs, the toll of the first phase is mounting, with 37 examinees already dropping out, unable to keep up with Satatsu's unwavering pace. Up at the very front, Gon and Killua are chatting as if they're on a casual stroll. They've managed to keep pace with the examiner, leaving the rest of the pack far behind. Killua, ever the cool professional, notes that moving this slowly is actually more exhausting than running fast. He's bored, and for a Zoldyck, boredom is the ultimate enemy. Gon listens intently, his youthful energy seemingly bottomless. He's fascinated by his new friend, taking in every word as they navigate the strange circular tunnels of the exam grounds. Killua muses that the entire hunter exam might be this tedious. He was expecting a legendary challenge, but so far, it's just been a very long, very boring walk in the dark. Turning the tables, Killua asks Gon what his motivation is. Why would a kid like him want to become a hunter? The question hangs in the air, framed by their effortless movement. Killua admits his own interest was piqued by rumors of the exam's difficulty. He's looking for a thrill, but so far, he's finding the reality far less impressive than the stories. Gon ponders the question, his face reflecting a simple but powerful determination. His reasons aren't about thrills or boredom, they are deeply personal and tied to a father he barely knows. Killua throws the question back at Gon, curious about what drives the energetic boy. The atmosphere is light, despite the high stakes of the world's most dangerous examination. Gon's eyes light up as he reveals his father is a hunter. For him, the license is more than a title. It's a way to understand the man who chose the hunt over home. When Killua asks what his father is like, Gon admits he has no idea. He's chasing a ghost, a silhouette of a man he's only ever seen in a single, cherished photograph. Killua looks on, perhaps realizing that Gon's quest is far more complex than a simple career choice. It's a search for identity and connection through the world of hunters. Killua can't help but laugh, calling Gon weird for wanting to follow someone he doesn't even know. Gon just smiles, his optimism unshakable even in the face of such a strange goal. Gon shares his history, explaining he was raised by his Aunt Mito. His father, Jing, has been a mystery his whole life, known only through a few scattered clues and one meeting. Ging's legend is immense, discovering lost civilizations and establishing wolf breeding programs. He is a triple-star hunter, a title held by fewer than 10 people in the entire world. The meeting with Kite changed everything for Gon. Kite spoke of Jing with such reverence and pride that Gon knew he had to become a hunter to finally find his father. Killua is impressed by the tales of Jing's greatness. If a man like Kite held him in such high regard, then Jing must truly be a legend among legends. Gon explains that Kite was prouder of Jing than he was of his own achievements. That profound respect is what convinced Gon that his father's path was worth following. With a determined look, Gon reaffirms his goal. He wants to walk the same path, face the same dangers, and eventually stand face to face with the man who started it all. Suddenly, a glimmer of light appears at the end of the long tunnel. The examinees surge forward, their spirits lifting as the claustrophobic darkness finally begins to give way. The exit. The word ripples through the exhausted crowd like a wave of relief. The first grueling test of endurance is finally reaching its conclusion. But what lies beyond? The applicants stumble out into the blinding daylight, gasping for fresh air. Emerging from the tunnel feels like a rebirth, but the sight waiting for them is far from welcoming. Lirio collapses, barely able to breathe. Kurapika, ever the supportive companion, urges him to take those final few steps as Sat Tots looks on with his usual unreadable expression. All around, the sounds of heavy panting and shuffling feet fill the air. The physical toll of the run is written on every face, a testament to the intensity of the exam. The survivors stand at the edge of a vast, misty landscape. They are bewildered and wary, wondering just where this marathon has led them. The real danger is only beginning. Welcome to the Milsey Wetlands, also known as the Swindler's Swamp. A treacherous, fog-shrouded expanse where nothing is as it seems and every step could be your last. Satots warns the group that this ecosystem is home to crafty, voracious creatures that use deception as their primary weapon. In this swamp, your eyes can be your worst enemy. The examiner's finger is raised in a stern warning. Follow me and stay focused. If you are deceived, you are dead. The stakes of the hunter exam have just turned lethal. The examinees gather at the threshold of the wetlands, a small army of survivors dwarfed by the massive, eerie silence of the swamp stretching out before them into the horizon. With a heavy metallic clang, the tunnel door shuts behind them, sealing off their only escape. There is no going back now. The only way forward is through the fog. Satots reiterates his warning. The creatures here are wily, and their tricks are both endless and deadly. This is the heart of the Swindler's Swamp, where truth is a rare luxury. Satots emphasizes the need for absolute focus. In this environment, losing sight of the leader even for a moment could mean disappearing into the murky depths of the wetlands forever. His warning is clear. Follow me closely. If you don't, you're lost. The gravity of the situation is mirrored in his calm but incredibly serious gaze. The camera pans across the remaining candidates. Among them, Hisoka's inscrutable smile stands out, a predator in a land of monsters, seemingly right at home in this dangerous place. Gon and Killua remain alert, their young faces showing a mix of curiosity and caution. They've survived the run, but they know the real test has only just started. Leorio and Kurapika brace themselves. Leorio thinks they're ready for anything, confident that they can't be duped if they're looking for tricks. Oh, how wrong he might be! Suddenly, a voice rings out, shattering the tension. That's a lie, he's lying. A battered man points an accusing finger at Satots, shocking the entire group into silence. An injured stranger staggers out from behind the wall, looking like he barely survived an attack. He claims to be the true examiner, sent by the Hunter Association. The group is thrown into total confusion. If this man is telling the truth, then who is the faceless figure they've been following for hours? Doubts begin to spread like wildfire. The newcomer screams that Satots is an imposter, a monster in disguise. He claims the real examiner was ambushed and that he is the only one who can be trusted. He stands there bloodied and torn, the very image of a victim. His desperate plea is convincing, playing perfectly on the candidate's growing fear and exhaustion. Satots remains perfectly still, his mustache casting a long shadow. He doesn't defend himself, his silence only adding to the mounting uncertainty among the examinees. The candidates are at a loss. If the person leading them is a monster, they are all in grave danger. The sense of security they had is completely shattered. The man declares he will show them proof of his claim. He reaches into the shadows, pulling something forward to expose the truth behind the examiner's identity. He hauls out a creature with a sickeningly human face. He identifies it as a man-faced ape, a notorious wetland beast known for its ability to mimic humans. The resemblance between the creature and Satots is uncanny. The man claims the ape disguised itself to lead the applicants to a slaughterhouse deep within the swamp. Satots looks on, unblinking. The crowd's suspicion turns to outright hostility as they look between the faceless examiner and the horrific creature held by the real examiner. Fear grips the candidates. The idea that they've been following a man-eating monster for miles is terrifying, and many are already reaching for their weapons in defense. The stranger explains that these apes are too weak to hunt directly, so they use elaborate ruses to lead prey into traps set by other, more powerful wetland predators. He shouts that the creature's goal is to wipe out the entire pool of hunter applicants in one fell swoop. The panic reaches a boiling point among the group. A sudden blur of motion cuts through the air. Playing cards fly with lethal precision, targeting the man who claimed to be the real examiner. The scene freezes in shock. The cards strike home, burying themselves deep into the man's face. The attack was so fast that no one even saw where the deadly projectiles came from. The real examiner lets out a choked gurgle and collapses to the ground, dead instantly. The examinees are left stunned by the sudden, violent turn of events. Wait, Satots is still standing. He's caught several of the cards between his fingers with incredible ease, proving his reflexes are far beyond those of any ordinary human. A close-up reveals the cards, sharp as razors and perfectly aimed. Satots' expression remains as inscrutable as ever, despite having just been the target of a potential killer. The examiner is unharmed, having reacted to the sneak attack with the calm grace of a true master hunter. The real test has just taken a dramatic turn. Hisoka calmly shuffles his deck, a mocking smile on his lips. He was the one who threw the cards, using a lethal test to uncover the truth of the situation. The man-faced ape, seeing its partner fall, immediately drops its act and tries to flee. It scampers across the ground with surprising agility, heading for the safety of the fog. The monster is fast, its long limbs propelling it away from the dangerous humans. It thought it had found an easy meal, but it vastly underestimated its prey. Another creature is revealed in the chaos. The swamp is teeming with life, much of it hidden and waiting for the perfect moment to strike at the unwary. Hisoka isn't done. With a flick of his wrist, more cards whistle through the air, chasing down the escaping monkey with unerring, supernatural accuracy. There is no escape. The cards hit their mark. The man-faced ape is struck down in mid-flight, falling into the dirt with a final pathetic cry. The deception has been ended permanently. The creature's body twitches on the ground, life fading from its eyes. The cards are embedded deep, showing the terrifying power and precision of the magician, Hisoka. The examinees realized the truth. The man was the imposter all along, and the monkey was just playing a part. Hisoka's test has revealed the true examiner through blood. Hisoka smiles, pleased with his work. Now we know, he purrs. He has confirmed that Satots is the real deal, and in doing so, has asserted his own dominance. Hisoka declares that Satots is indeed the real examiner. Only a true hunter could have caught his card so easily while the imposter fell like a common civilian. Satots acknowledges the compliment with a slight tilt of his head. He isn't rattled by the attack, showing the immense gap in power between him and the applicants. He explains that examiners are hunters who volunteer their time without pay. A real hunter would have had no trouble dodging or catching Hisoka's opening gambit. However, Satots issues a stern warning. While he accepts the test this time, any further attacks on an examiner will result in immediate and permanent disqualification from the exam. He looks Hisoka in the eye, making sure the message is understood. The hunter exam has rules, and even a predator like Hisoka must follow them if he wants a license. Hisoka gives a simple, chilling, sure, accompanied by a playful spade symbol. He's satisfied for now, having found a worthy player in this high-stakes game of survival. The rest of the applicants stand in stunned silence. The sheer level of power they just witnessed is a sobering reminder of the world they are trying to enter. Suddenly, a flock of scavenger birds descends from the sky, their wings beating a frantic rhythm as they converge on the fallen imposter's body. Nature is quick to claim its due. Satots watches the birds, his voice calm but cold. As you see, losing isn't pretty. It's a final, grim lesson for the candidates before they head into the swamp. The birds begin to feast, their sharp beaks tearing at the remains of the man-faced ape. In the Milsey wetlands, failure doesn't just mean disqualification. It means becoming part of the food chain. Leorio is visibly shaken, his face pale as he watches the scavengers. The brutal reality of the law of the jungle is hitting him harder than any of the physical challenges. Kurapika observes with a grim understanding. He knows that in a place like this, morality is a luxury and survival is the only rule that truly matters. Leorio finds the whole display disgusting. He's a man who wants to save lives, and the casual brutality of the swamp is an affront to everything he believes in. Satots explains that the imposter's ruse was designed to lure them into a trap where other creatures would have finished them off. Deception is the swamp's most dangerous weapon. Leorio admits that he was almost fooled, his own doubts nearly leading him astray. It's a humbling realization for a man who prides himself on his street smarts. With the mystery solved, Satot announces it's time to move toward the second phase. The group follows him into the dense foliage, the sounds of the swamp rising around them. 311 examinees remain, a significantly smaller number than when the day began. They plunge into the heart of the Milsey wetlands, their shadows stretching across the mud. Lario groans about having to run another marathon, especially through the thick, cloying mud of the swamp. His complaints are a familiar, almost comforting background noise to the trek. The line of candidates stretches out like a long, thin snake, moving through the strange plants and treacherous terrain. Every splash and footstep echoes in the heavy, humid air. A thick, white fog begins to roll in, swallowing the landscape and reducing visibility to almost zero. The examinees become ghosts, barely visible to one another in the gloom. Leorio and Kurapika struggle to keep Satots in sight. The fog is so dense it feels physical, a cold, wet blanket that muffles sound and hides potential threats. Killua urges Gon to move to the front of the pack. He knows that staying in the middle or back is dangerous when visibility is this low and predators are nearby. His primary concern is getting as far away from Hisoka as possible. Killua's instincts are screaming, and he knows that the magician is far more dangerous than any swamp monster. Killua senses a murderous aura coming from Hisoka. The fog provides the perfect cover for a killer, and Killua is certain that the clown is looking for an excuse to strike. Killua's eyes are sharp as he scans the white abyss. He knows the fog makes great cover, not just for them to hide, but for Hisoka to hunt without being seen. Killua's face is a mask of cool calculation. He's in his element here, his training as an assassin giving him an edge in this world of shadows and hidden killers. Gon wonders how Killua knows so much about Hisoka's intent. Killua just smiles, a dark secret hidden behind his youthful features. Fact is, I'm like him, he says. He claims he can smell the killer in Hisoka. It's a chilling admission, suggesting that Killua's own history is far bloodier than his playful attitude would lead one to believe. Gon is surprised, but he doesn't seem afraid. To him, Killua is just a friend, even if he does have a strange way of sensing danger. He just keeps running. Killua laughs, playing it off as if he's just being innocent. You'll see, he tells Gon. It's a playful but ominous promise of what's to come in this exam. Gon calls out to Leorio and Kurapika, telling them to move to the front. But the distance between them is growing, and his friends are struggling just to keep moving. Kurapika and Leorio are at their limit. They can't spare the energy to speed up, their lungs burning as they fight through the thick air and clinging mud of the swamp. The sounds of splashing feet fill the silence. Splub, splub. The rhythm of the run is the only thing keeping them grounded as the world disappears into a white void. The fog is getting even thicker, turning the world into a featureless white room. The examinees are becoming more isolated with every passing second, exactly what the swamp wants. In the distance, the silhouettes of other runners are lost in the mist. The sense of dread is palpable as the candidates plunge deeper into the heart of the Swindler swamp. The examinees try desperately to follow the shadows ahead of them. In this fog, the only way to know you're still on the path is to follow the person in front. Suddenly, a strange plop sound echoes through the mist. One of the candidates stops, confused by the noise in the middle of this vast, empty expanse. What was that? He looks around, his eyes wide with uncertainty. Plop? The sound was small, but in the silence of the swamp, it felt like a warning bell that he chose to ignore. He looks down and sees a strawberry, floating right there in the air. It's a bizarre sight, and for a moment, his curiosity overcomes his survival instincts. A fatal mistake. It's a trap. A massive, predatory, turtle-like creature erupts from the ground, its mouth wide. The strawberry was just a lure, and now the applicant is the main course. Chaos erupts in the thick mist. Panic-stricken screams echo through the Swindler swamp as the unwary are picked off one by one. The Hunter exam has turned into a desperate race for survival. Gon and Killua pause, ears twitching at the distant wails. Those screams! Way out there! Gon exclaims. The fog is a hungry beast, swallowing those who lose their way in this treacherous landscape. "There's no one behind us now," an applicant shouts. 1 second, there were over 100 people, and the next, a haunting silence. The herd is thinning at a terrifying, unnatural speed. Meet the Nagan tortoise. This foggy day predator uses those delicious straw man berries on its back to lure unsuspecting travelers. One wrong step toward a snack, and you're the one being eaten. Sir. The panic is infectious as the survivors scatter. In this swamp, standing still is a death sentence. Every shadow hides a mouth, and every path could lead straight into a monster's belly. The ground itself seems to wobble and shift. Is it an earthquake or something much more alive? The applicants look around in terror as their sense of stability vanishes along with their comrades. From high above, the scale of the trap is revealed. The swamp is a living organism, a giant mouth waiting to snap shut on the tiny, colorful specks of the fleeing hunter hopefuls. A hawk. A massive green snout erupts from the earth, tossing applicants into the air like popcorn. The ground they thought was solid was merely the chin of a hidden giant. Glump. With a sickening squelch, the earth swallows them whole. It's a quick, silent end for those who weren't fast enough to dodge the sudden upheaval of the landscape's deadly residents. Suchep. The creature retreats back into the grass, its meal complete. Only a subtle rustle remains where several people stood just moments ago. The swamp is patient, and it is very, very hungry. The frog in waiting buries itself underground, mouth agape, hoping for prey to wander right over its tongue. It's the ultimate low-effort predator, and it's currently having a feast on the unsuspecting crowd. This way, safe here, a ruse raven croaks, leading people toward their doom. It mimics human speech to guide the lost into lethal traps, waiting to scavenge whatever the environment leaves behind. K-boom! A claymore mushroom detonates. These volatile fungi explode when stepped on, spreading spores over their victims. It's a colorful but deadly way to go, turning an applicant into fertilizer in seconds. Beware the hypnosis butterfly. Its mesmerizing flight patterns lull prey into a deep, inescapable slumber. Once you're out, you become live food for its larvae. A beautiful sight is the last thing you'll see. Man, those screams! It's major chaos! Leorio shouts, sweat pouring down his face. The fog has turned the group into a fragmented mess, and the sounds of the dying echo from every direction. I'm an idiot! Leorio panics, realizing his weapons are all tucked away in his briefcase. In a place where everything is trying to eat you, a lack of preparation is the quickest way to end. Leorio's frustration boils over as he grips his empty suitcase. Around him, the fog thickens, isolating the friends from the rest of the pack. The true danger of the swamp is just beginning to manifest. Gon looks back, his heart heavy with worry for his friends. Hope Kurapika and Leorio are okay, he thinks. In this thick white soup of a forest, even the strongest bonds can be severed. Gon! Killua's voice cuts through the fog, snapping Gon back to reality. The world is moving fast, and there's no time for daydreaming when the next step could be your very last one. Don't space out, Killua warns, his expression serious. You got your own worries. The silver-haired boy knows the stakes are high, and survival depends on absolute focus and a complete lack of hesitation. Yeah, Gon replies, nodding. He tightens his grip and sets his sights ahead. They have to keep moving no matter what happens to the others. The goal is the only thing that matters now. The fog is so thick it's like a wall. We can barely see the guys ahead of us, Killua notes. Getting separated means becoming Swindler Chow Fate no one in their right mind wants. If you don't hear your friends scream, figure they're still pumping, Killua says with grim pragmatism. It's a cold way to look at it, but in the Hunter exam, silent is actually good news. GYU. UCK. Sudden violence erupts as playing cards whistle through the air like razor-sharp shrapnel. Applicants are cut down mid-sentence, their journey ending in a spray of blood and a final, choked gasp. Kurapika leaps into action, his wooden swords clattering as he deflects a lethal projectile. The speed of the attack is blinding, and only his heightened reflexes keep him from joining the fallen on the grass. Leorio's eyes bulge in pure terror as a card grazes his arm. The realization of who is behind this attack hits him like a ton of bricks. This isn't a monster. It's something far more dangerous. Gon freezes, sensing the shift in the air. The atmosphere has gone from dangerous nature to predatory malice. A new player has entered the field, and he's playing a very different kind of game. High above the carnage, a pair of narrow, golden eyes watch with cold amusement. The predator is revealed, and he is savoring the scent of fear and the sight of his handiwork. Shflel. The sound of cards being handled echoes through the clearing. Applicants lie scattered on the ground, silenced forever. In the distance, a figure stands tall, seemingly untouched by the chaos of the swamp. Leorio, Gorapika shouts, searching for his companions. The fog is thin here, but the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. They've stumbled right into the path of a monster. Bastard, what you're doing? Leorio screams, his face contorted in rage and fear. He stares at the flamboyant figure standing amidst the bodies, his heart hammering against his ribs in a frantic rhythm. Hisoka smirks, his hands expertly shuffling a deck of cards. Playing examiner, he purrs with a deadly glint in his eye. To him, this isn't a massacre. It's a rigorous, necessary culling of the weak. Gwa. A final groan escapes one of the victims. The field is a graveyard of failed dreams and broken bodies. Hisoka stands at the center of it all, a smiling reaper in the mist. Lario and Kurapika stand their ground, though they are outmatched. The sheer pressure coming from Hisoka is suffocating. He isn't even attacking yet, but his presence alone is a weapon of psychological warfare. A card is embedded deep in the skull of a fallen applicant. The precision is terrifying. Every throw is calculated, every strike intended to kill instantly. This is the work of a master assassin. Sajuyu 5th. Hisoka continues his rhythmic shuffling. The sound is hypnotic and menacing. He is waiting, watching his remaining prey, deciding who is worthy of his time and who is just more trash. Another body lies face down, a card protruding from the back of the neck. There was no struggle, no chance to run. Death came on silent paper wings, swifter than any beast in the forest. Close up on a victim, eyes wide in a final moment of shock. The blood is fresh, staining the grass a vibrant, horrifying red. The Swindler Swamp has lived up to its name today. Hisoka sighs, his voice dripping with bored arrogance. I meant to hold off until the second phase, but this first phase is unutterably boring. To him, the exam is a dull chore. SHU 5th, and judge your acceptability, he continues, his eyes scanning the survivors. He sees himself as a self-appointed gatekeeper, weeding out those who lack the spark of true potential he so craves. Judge us? You? An applicant scoffs, though his voice wavers. Idiot, we've lost the examiner in this mist. They think Hisoka is just another candidate, unaware that they are facing a true monster, which means everyone here has failed. That includes you, the man shouts, pointing a finger at the magician. Talk. A card strikes home before he can even blink. Silence returns to the clearing. Quite wrong, Hisoka retorts, his smile widening. Yes, you failed, but I haven't. He is playing by his own rules, and in his world, only the strong have the right to exist. A lesson before dying, gentlemen, Hisoka says, his tone conversational. A true magician never runs out of tricks. He is in his element, a showman preparing for his grand, bloody finale. The remaining applicants draw their weapons, their faces set in grim determination. They are surrounded, outnumbered by the ghosts of their friends, but they refuse to go down without a fight. They rush him. The first time I was in the middle of, one begins, his words lost, as the battle truly commences. They move in a desperate, uncoordinated wave, hoping to overwhelm him. Zishish. Hisoka moves with fluid, effortless grace. He doesn't even seem to be trying, dodging strikes and parrying blades with nothing but his bare hands and the cards he holds so casually. A homicidal maniac like you has no right to be a hunter? One shouts. Hope you enjoy the exam, 'cause it's your last. Their bravado is a thin mask for the terror underneath. Hisoka just smiles, his eyes dancing with dark amusement. He is enjoying this. The struggle, the defiance, the doomed effort. It's all a delightful performance staged just for his personal entertainment. Let's see, he muses. Picking a card from his deck, he's choosing the next instrument of his justice, his eyes lingering on the four of hearts. The culling continues with playful cruelty. Yes, this one should suffice, Hisoka decides, tapping the card against his chin. He has found the perfect tool for the job. The air around him crackles with lethal intent as he prepares. Up yours, the crowd roars, charging forward with everything they've got. They think they have him cornered, but they are merely walking into a trap set by a master of deception. SH-Whip, SH-Whap, FFT. In a blur of motion, Hisoka dances through the attackers. Cards fly, throats are slit, and the sound of falling bodies becomes a gruesome percussion to his lethal, silent dance. Swoop! A card finds its mark with surgical precision. The first attacker doesn't even have time to scream before his world goes dark. The magician's tricks are proving to be quite permanent. Split. Another card. Another life ended in an instant. Hisoka's movements are so fast they are nearly impossible to track. He is a whirlwind of paper and blood, leaving only silence behind. Spot, the carnage is total. One by one, the applicants who dare to challenge him are silenced. It's a masterclass in efficient, high-speed execution, performed with a terrifying, nonchalant smile. Glowurch. Snap. Hisoka catches a wrist and breaks it like a dry twig. He is a predator among sheep, and the Swindler Swamp is his personal playground. The resistance is crumbling into dust. Snick, I have a few more. Hisoka whispers, his eyes glowing with a feral light. He isn't done yet. The game is far too much fun to end just quite yet. SNAK. He moves with the speed of a striking cobra. Each movement is purposeful, each strike lethal. The applicants are no longer fighting. They are simply waiting their turn to die. Kurapika and Leorio watch in frozen horror. They've seen combat, but this is something else entirely. This is a slaughterhouse, and they are next on the list if they don't find a way out. Kurapika is speechless. The gap in power is a vast, unbridgeable chasm. He realizes that their survival depends not on their strength, but on the whim of the monster standing before them. Hisoka chuckles, his shoulders shaking with dark mirth. The field is clear. He stands alone among the fallen, a king of a graveyard, thoroughly enjoying the silence he has created. Hee ha 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 ha. His laughter erupts, a jarring, manic sound that echoes through the trees. It's the sound of a man who has completely surrendered to his own bloodlust and found it delicious. You! A stray survivor tries to flee, but a card catches him in the back. There is no escape from Hisoka's reach. He is the judge, jury, and executioner of this foggy domain. Zikti, another one falls. Hisoka's precision is unerring even as he laughs. It's as if he could do this in his sleep, a natural extension of his twisted, brilliant, and utterly broken mind. Z-Whip, Z-Wep. The final stragglers are cut down. The clearing is finally quiet, save for the rustle of the wind and the fading echoes of Hisoka's chilling, triumphant laughter. The culling is complete. Da-boom. Hisoka stands tall, his silhouette imposing against the misty backdrop. Sticka, so many dropouts he mocks. He surveys his handiwork with the pride of a gardener who has just finished weeding. Hisoka's eyes narrow as he spots movement. He isn't alone after all. His gaze turns toward Kurapika and Leorio, who are still standing, their faces pale but their spirits not yet broken. Kurapika and Leorio exchange a desperate look. They are the last ones left. The pressure is immense, a physical weight on their chests as they face the man who just slaughtered dozens. Just you three left, Hisoka purrs, his voice carrying clearly across the grass. He holds a blood-stained card, his eyes locked on his remaining students. The final exam of the day has begun. Close up on Leorio. His brow is furrowed, sweat dripping down his face. He's terrified, but there's a spark of defiance in his eyes. He won't go down without a fight, no matter the odds. Close up on Kurapika. He is calm, analytical, searching for any weakness in Hisoka's stance. He knows that raw power won't win this. They need a plan, and they need it right now. Close up on the third applicant, a man in red. He is shaking, his resolve crumbling under the weight of Hisoka's murderous intent. He knows he's outmatched, and the fear is paralyzing him. Safeth! Safeth! Hisoka begins to walk toward them, his steps slow and deliberate. Each footfall sounds like a death knell in the silent clearing. The predator is closing in for the final kill. Hey, when I say go, we split up. Got it? Kurapika whispers. It's their only chance. If they stay together, they're easy targets. If they scatter, at least one of them might survive. It's our only hope, Kurapika emphasizes. He is thinking clearly, even in the face of death. He knows that survival is a game of probability now, and they have to play their cards right. Know why? Because he is a homicidal maniac, Kurapika warns. An entire army could be backing us up. He understands the true nature of the beast they are facing, and we still wouldn't have a chance against him. He finishes. It's a grim assessment, but an honest one. Their only weapon is flight, and even that might not be enough. You guys have your reasons for wanting to be hunters, and probably don't like the idea of running. But it's our only sane option. Kurapika's voice is urgent, pleading for them to listen. Leorio and the man in red nod. The logic is sound, even if it hurts their pride. In the world of hunters, living to fight another day is the ultimate mark of intelligence. Suff. Hisoka stops, a playful smirk on his face. He hears their whispering, senses their fear, and he is absolutely delighted by it. He loves a good chase before the kill. Goo! Kurapika shouts. They scatter like leaves in a gale, running in 3 different directions. The sudden movement breaks the tension, and the race for survival begins in earnest. Dash! They sprint across the clearing, disappearing into the fog. Hisoka watches them go, his eyes dancing. He doesn't give chase immediately. He prefers to give his prey a head start. Smart move. For that, I'll grant you 10 seconds, Hisoka says to himself. He starts the count, his voice a low, steady rumble. One dim quote. The clock is ticking for the 3 runners. Kurapika and Leorio push themselves to the limit, their lungs burning as they dive deeper into the forest. Every second counts. Every meter of distance is a precious victory against the coming storm. 9, 10. Hisoka finishes his count. He stretches his arms, his muscles coiling like a spring. The grace period is over. The hunter is ready to start his favorite game. And now, who do I chase down first? Hisoka muses, his finger tapping his chin. He enjoys the choice. Each one offers a different kind of thrill, a different kind of ending. Leorio stops. He can't do it. He can't just run away while his pride is being trampled. He turns back, his face a mask of sweating, desperate determination. He's going back for a payback. Don't strain your brain, Leorio grumbles. I'm not the sort to just suck it up. He's an idiot, and he knows it, but he'd rather die fighting than live as a coward. Hisoka stands waiting, his eyes widening in genuine surprise. He didn't expect one of them to return. This is a new development, an interesting twist in his little afternoon play. Without a quick payback, Leorio roars, charging back toward the magician with his club raised high. It's a suicide mission, a reckless gamble born of pure, unadulterated grit. Kurapika cries out from the distance. He can't believe his friend's stupidity. He stops his flight, torn between his own safety and the life of his headstrong companion. That idiot, the man in red echoes. He keeps running, focused only on his own survival. He hasn't the stomach for Leorio's brand of suicidal bravery. I like your spirit, Hisoka says, his voice full of dark appreciation. He raises his own weapon, ready to meet Leorio's charge. This spirit is exactly what he's been looking for. Hisoka prepares to strike. His movements are a blur, a perfect synthesis of speed and power. He isn't going to kill Leorio immediately. He wants to savor this spirit a little longer. Leorio's eyes are wide, focused entirely on his target. He knows he's probably going to die, but he doesn't care. He just wants to land one good hit on the monster. Whack! Hisoka delivers a punishing blow, sending Leorio reeling. The power is staggering, a reminder of the massive gap between them. Leario's club is nearly knocked from his hands. Pock. Suddenly, a small red projectile strikes Hisoka right in the forehead. The magician's head snaps back as he's caught completely off guard. Someone else has entered the fray. Hisoka's head is tilted back from the impact. He's dazed, a rare moment of vulnerability for the master of the swamp. The sudden attack has completely disrupted his lethal rhythm. Leorio looks up, blood trickling down his face. He's as surprised as Hisoka. He didn't expect backup, let alone a hit that actually landed on the magician's face. Hisoka's eyes clear, and he looks toward the source of the projectile. He's no longer smiling. Someone has dared to touch him, and that person is about to find out his mistake. Gon stands there, his fishing rod held high. He's the one who landed the blow. He looks small and vulnerable against the backdrop of the fog, but his eyes are burning with resolve. Gon? Leorio shouts in disbelief. The kid came back. He risked everything to save his friend, and he actually managed to hurt the monster. It's a feat beyond all expectations. Hisoka stares at the boy, his expression unreadable. He touches the spot where the lure hit him, a dark curiosity beginning to brew in his golden eyes. This child, he's something special. FW whip. Hisoka vanishes in a burst of speed, reappearing right in front of Gon. The boy doesn't even have time to blink before the predator is upon him, his presence overwhelming and terrifying. Not bad, Hisoka purrs, his voice right in Gon's ear. He is inches away, his cold breath ghosting over the boy's skin. The sheer predatory power coming from him is paralyzing. SHK. Gon tries to swing his rod, but Hisoka effortlessly catches it. The boy's weapon is useless against the magician's strength. He is completely at Hisoka's mercy now. A fishing rod. How original. May I see? Hisoka says, his fingers tracing the wood. He's examining Gon like a rare specimen, a fascinating new toy he's just discovered in the swamp. Hey, for you something. Leorio roars, charging back in for a second attempt. He won't let Gon face this alone. His club swings in a desperate wide arc toward Hisoka's head. Hisoka doesn't even look back. He simply raises a hand, his focus remaining entirely on Gon. The boy is far more interesting than the loud, sweating man behind him. Whoosh! Hisoka delivers a devastating punch to Leorio without even turning around. The force is enough to send the man flying backward, his club spinning out of his grasp. Leorio is airborne, his face a mask of pain and shock. He was dealt with as if he were nothing more than a bothersome fly. The power gap is truly terrifying to behold. Gon's eyes widen as he watches his friend fall. The realization of his own helplessness hits him like a physical blow. He's alone with the monster now, and there's no one left to help. Leorio crashes into the ground unconscious. He's out of the fight. Hisoka turns back to Gon, his smile returning, wider and more menacing than ever before. The lesson continues. FFT. Hisoka lunges, his hand reaching for Gon's throat. The boy manages to dodge, his reflexes honed by years of living in nature. But he's just delaying the inevitable. SH whip, another strike, even faster this time. Hisoka is playing with his food, testing Gon's limits, seeing how long the little spark can stay alive in the face of his darkness. BRR. A chill runs down Gon's spine as Hisoka's hand brushes his cheek. He can feel the murderous intent, a cold, sharp blade pressing against his soul. He's never been this close to death. Hisoka's face is a mask of pure, predatory delight. He found what he was looking for. This boy has the spark, the potential to become something truly magnificent or truly terrifying. He catches Gon by the throat, lifting him off the ground with effortless strength. The boy gasps for air, his feet kicking uselessly in the air. The magician's grip is like a vice. Here to help your friend? There's a loyal lad, Hisoka says, his voice soft and chilling. He stares into Gon's eyes, looking for any sign of breaking, any hint of surrender. Gon stares back, his face turning red from the lack of oxygen, but his eyes remain steady. He won't give Hisoka the satisfaction of seeing him afraid. He'll fight until his very last breath. Kurapika watches from the shadows, his hands clenched. He wants to help, but he knows he'd just be another victim. He has to trust Gon, has to hope the boy's potential is enough to save him. Don't worry, I'm done with him. Hisoka says, dropping Gon to the ground. He looks over at the unconscious Leorio. He's alive, and he's passed. The magician's judgment has been delivered. Hisoka muses, looking back at Gon. He seems satisfied with his evaluation. He's seen enough to know that this boy is worth keeping around for a later, more interesting game. Gon gasps for air, his hand at his throat. He's alive. He can't believe it. The monster is walking away, leaving him and Leorio behind in the silent, foggy clearing. You'll make a good hunter. As have you, Hisoka says, a final, cryptic compliment as he disappears into the mist. He's finished his self-appointed exam, and the results are surprisingly positive. Beep! A communicator chirps in Hisoka's hand. The world of the exam is calling him back. He has more work to do, more students to evaluate in the next phase. Hisoka, get a move on. The second phase is about to start. A voice crackles through the speaker. The magician nods, his eyes fixed on the path ahead. The fun is just beginning. Check. Be right there, Hisoka replies, his voice calm and professional. He's a different man now, the murderous predator hidden behind a mask of polite, efficient compliance. Friendship is a fine thing, he adds with a final mocking smirk. He vanishes into the fog, leaving Gon alone with his thoughts and his unconscious friend in the middle of the deadly swamp. You okay on your own? Kurapika asks, appearing from the trees. He looks relieved to find Gon alive. He moves to check on Leorio, his face set in a grim expression of concern. Odd nods silently, his mind still reeling from the encounter. He feels a strange mix of terror and exhilaration. He survived an encounter with a monster, and he's changed forever. Good lad, Kurapika says, helping Leorio up. Heh heh heh. Hisoka's laughter seems to linger in the air, a haunting reminder of the darkness that nearly swallowed them all. The three of them stand together, a small island of survivors in the vast, treacherous forest. They've made it through the first phase, but the hardest part of the exam is still to come. Slump. Gon sits on the ground, his energy spent. Gon? Kurapika asks, worried about the boy's state of mind. Gon just stares at the ground, his heart still hammering in his chest. B-U-H-B-M-P. B-U-H-B-M-P. Gon's heartbeat is loud in his ears. Hisoka, the magician, a creature as peculiar and enigmatic as any he has ever met. The memory of those golden eyes will haunt him. Scree, scree. Ruse ravens circle above a body pinned to a tree. The swamp's predators are already busy with the remains of Hisoka's culling. The cycle of nature continues, grim and efficient as ever. High in the canopy, the fog is thinning, letting in shafts of pale light. The forest is beautiful, but its beauty is a trap for the unwary. Every leaf, every shadow hides a potential threat. Another view of the ravens. They are patient, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They are the cleanup crew of the swindler's swamp, the silent witnesses to the day's gruesome events. Below, two small figures run through the clearing. Gon and Kurapika are making their way out of the danger zone, their faces set in determination as they head toward the next challenge. Sniff. Gon stops, his nose twitching. He's picking up a scent in the air, something distinctive and familiar. He's using his heightened senses to guide them through the final stretch of the forest. This way. Gon points. He's found a trail, a path through the carnage that leads toward their goal. He's moving with newfound confidence, his instincts leading the way with unerring precision. You really smell him? Yeah, Gon confirms. He's tracking Leorio's scent, a trail of distinctive cologne that carries for miles in the damp air. It's a ridiculous but effective way to find their friend. Kurapika smiles. Leorio wears distinctive cologne. Its scent carries for several miles. For you, perhaps, he appreciates the boy's unique abilities, even if they are a bit unusual. Notice the animal carcasses littering the way? They probably tried to attack Hisoka, Kurapika notes. The magician left a trail of destruction behind him, a warning to any creature foolish enough to cross his path. Gon is silent. He remembers the cold pressure of Hisoka's hand on his throat. He realizes that the man is a force of nature, a predator that even the swamp's monsters are afraid of. Say, Kurapika, what do you think Hisoka meant when he said, Leorio and I passed? Gon asks. He's trying to understand the magician's twisted logic, the grade he was given in the mist. I'm done with him. He's alive, and he's passed. Hisoka's words echo in Gon's mind. It was a bizarre, terrifying way to be evaluated, but it seems they've survived the magician's test. They reach a clearing, and the path ahead is finally clear. The fog is behind them, and the goal is in sight. They've made it through the Swindler Swamp, and they are still alive. As he seems to see himself as an examiner, I would say it was your grade, Kurapika concludes. It's a chilling thought that their survival was merely a matter of passing a madman's personal test. Kurapika reminds Gon of his incredible feat. He was the only one to land a hit on Hisoka. Gon remains humble, puzzled by how the magician's brief glance could carry so much weight. Gon's thoughts turn to his friend. If performance matters, why did Leorio pass? Hisoka absolutely walloped him. The criteria for survival in this exam are becoming more mysterious by the second. The fact remains, Leorio is still in the running. As birds scatter over the quiet, distant ridges, the weight of Hisoka's arbitrary judgment hangs heavy over the remaining applicants' heads. Kurapika suggests that Hisoka relies on raw instinct rather than rules. Gon suddenly reacts. Did he sense something? They realize the magician might be playing a much deeper game than they imagined. Gon compares the sensation to Killua. It's a specific scent of danger and potential. Those with elite predator instincts can recognize their own kind, even before a single punch is thrown. Kurapika's expression hardens. In his eyes, Hisoka's overwhelming bloodlust makes him unfit to be a true hunter. Yet, despite his moral objections, he cannot ignore the sheer power the man radiates. Kurapika acknowledges Hisoka's terrifying reality. His technique is flawless and his dexterity is superhuman. In terms of pure combat capability, he is an apex predator without a known equal in this exam. Perhaps Hisoka's experience allowed him to see past Gon's small frame. He may have sensed the enormous, untapped potential buried deep within the boy and decided it was a flame worth watching. A flash of realization. Those with unique, extraordinary abilities possess a sixth sense for greatness in others. In that moment of conflict, Hisoka didn't see an opponent. He saw a future legend. He may have decided that to kill you now would be premature, Kurapika says, his voice solemn. It's a chilling thought that their lives were spared only so they could be killed later, when they were more ripe. Gon looks ahead, his face set in a serious expression. He's beginning to understand the weight of the path he's chosen. The hunter exam isn't just a test of skill, it's a test of survival. Sorry, that was out of line. It's okay, Kurapika apologizes. He realizes he might have been too blunt. But Gon doesn't mind. He prefers the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. I'm starting to understand. The weirdness I felt back there, Gon says softly. He's reflecting on his encounter with the magician, the strange mix of terror and fascination he felt. All these dead bodies lying around. And Hisoka, the killer walking toward me, Gon continues. He's replaying the scene in his mind, trying to make sense of the nightmare he just lived through. Honestly, I was scared. I wanted to run, but I couldn't. I knew I was no match for him. I figured I was dead. Gon's voice is full of raw, honest emotion. He's admitting his vulnerability. The thing is, even facing certain death, Gon pauses, searching for the right words. He's trying to describe the feeling of standing on the edge of the abyss and not blinking. Well, it's weird, but it felt pretty exciting too. Gon finishes with a small, shy smile. It's a startling admission, a glimpse into the boy's unique, fearless, and slightly dangerous spirit. The fog has completely vanished, revealing a beautiful sunny day. The forest is vibrant and full of life, a sharp contrast to the grim, deadly swamp they just left behind. They reach a large, school-like building nestled in a clearing. This is the goal, the end of the first phase. They've made it through the literal and metaphorical darkness. We've come through the swamp. Well done, all of you. This is the Visca Force Preserve, where we will conduct the Esconfist. Satev's voice rings out, welcoming the weary survivors to the next stage. The survivors gather, their faces a mix of relief and exhaustion. Only a fraction of the original group remains. The first phase has done its job, weeding out the weak with ruthless efficiency. This is where we part. I wish you all good luck, Satat says, his tone polite and formal as always. He's finished his task and he's ready to hand over the students to their next instructors. He walks away, his movements as smooth and mechanical as ever. He doesn't look back, his duty to the exam complete. He is the silent judge, the indifferent observer of their struggle. About 150 came through the first phase. Frankly, I was figuring on less than 100. We have an exceptional batch of applicants this year, Satats muses to himself. The quality of the field is surprisingly high. Too bad then that Buhara and Menchi are the examiners for the second phase, a deep voice says from the shadows. The next instructors are apparently not known for their leniency. Exceptional or not, this group may dwindle to 50 or less, far less, depending on the circumstances. The voice continues. The next phase is going to be even more brutal than the first. Satat stops, his expression unreadable. He knows the reputations of his colleagues, and he knows the challenges that lie ahead for the remaining applicants. He wonders who will truly pass. Perhaps I'll stay and watch, Satat decides. He's curious, interested in seeing how this exceptional batch handles the unique and often bizarre challenges of the second phase. Ah, we made it, Gon exclaims as they reach the clearing. He looks around, his eyes wide. He's relieved to have finally made it to the next stage, away from the horrors of the swamp. Kurapika and Gon survey the crowd. They're looking for their friends, hoping to find Leario and Killua among the survivors. The atmosphere is tense, a mix of relief and nervous anticipation. I don't see Hisoka or Leario, Kurapika notes, his brow furrowing. He remembers leaving them behind in the mist. He hopes they've found their way out of the darkness and into the sun. Birar. Gon's nose twitches again. He's picking up a scent, a familiar trail of cologne that leads toward a group of applicants resting near the trees. He's found them. Gon spots Leorio sitting on the grass, looking battered but alive. Beside him, Hisoka stands tall, his silhouette imposing against the bright sky. The two friends have somehow made it together. Hisoka notices them and points, a silent acknowledgement of their arrival. He seems amused, his golden eyes sparkling with dark mirth. He's still playing his inscrutable game. Gon and Kurapika sprint toward their friend. Dash! They are overjoyed to find him alive. The bond between them has only been strengthened by the trials they faced together. Alorio! They shout in unison. The man looks up, a weary smile touching his lips. He survived his ordeal, and he's ready for whatever the next phase has in store for him. Arm wound aside, you seem intact. Not real pretty though, huh? Kurapika jokes as he examines Leorio. He's relieved to find his friend's injuries are mostly superficial. Leorio just nods, too exhausted to argue. When did you come to? Oh, just now. You look the same to me, Leorio replies, his memory a bit fuzzy. He doesn't remember much after Hisoka's punch. He's just glad to be awake. But how'd I get all beat up? Can't really remember much after entering the swamp. Leorio muses, rubbing his sore jaw. He's completely unaware of the drama that played out around his unconscious body. Best to say nothing. Kurapika whispers to Gon. Right, Gon agrees. They decide to keep the details of their encounter with Hisoka to themselves. Some things are better left unsaid. Why is everyone standing around out here? Leorio asks, looking at the large crowd gathered in front of the building. A deep, resonant rumble of a stomach echoes through the clearing. We can't get in, a familiar voice says. Killer is there. He's leaned against a tree, his skateboard tucked under his arm. He looks as cool and unbothered as ever, despite the chaos of the swamp. Killua, Goen shouts, his face lighting up. He's happy to see his new friend has made it through the first phase. Killua just gives a casual yo, his expression bored and indifferent. I see you actually got here. How'd you manage it? Killua asks, his eyes flicking toward the battered Leorio. He's impressed that the older man survived the Swindler Swamp at all. Followed your friend's cologne? Yeah, Gon replies with a grin. It's a ridiculous story, but a true one. Killua just shakes his head, his opinion of Gon's peculiarity only further confirmed. You really are a peculiar one. You think so? Must be half dog, Killua jokes. The tension of the first phase is finally breaking, replaced by the easy camaraderie of newfound friends. So why can't you get in? Gon asks, looking toward the large closed doors of the building. The growling sound is getting louder, a rhythmic, rumbling roar that seems to come from inside. That's why, Kilwa says, pointing toward the doors. Grook, Grook. A series of deep, guttural sounds erupt from within the building. Second phase begins at noon. For now, we wait. As for the critter making that racket, it's anybody's guess. Guess we'll find out at noon, Killua adds. He's intrigued, his curiosity piqued by the mysterious, hungry creature hidden behind the walls. Not long then, Goen says, looking at the clock on the building. Nope, Killua agrees. They have just a few minutes left before the next challenge begins. The tension is building again. Arr, grarg. The sounds from inside are getting more intense, more desperate. It sounds like a pack of starving beasts fighting over a single, small piece of meat. It's a terrifying noise. Every day for a month. Pretty jittery. The suspense is certainly palpable, Kurapika notes, looking around at the anxious crowd. The unknown is always the most frightening thing, and they are facing a very big unknown. We've gotta be ready for whatever might leap out, Leorio adds, his hand gripping his club. He's ready for a fight, even if he doesn't know what he's fighting yet. His resolve is back. The clock ticks closer to noon. The air is still, the silence outside broken only by the horrific, growling sounds coming from within the building. Everyone is holding their breath, waiting for the signal. Ping! The clock strikes 12. The moment of truth has arrived. The first phase is officially over, and the second phase is about to begin. The doors start to open slowly and ominously. Freak! The massive doors swing back, revealing a cavernous, dimly lit interior. The growling sound reaches a crescendo, a deafening, thunderous roar that shakes the very ground beneath their feet. The applicants peer into the darkness, their eyes wide with fear and anticipation. Something is moving inside, something large and hungry. The second phase of the hunter exam has finally begun. So, a deep voice says from the darkness. A massive figure emerges, a man of staggering proportions. He is built like a mountain, his presence overwhelming even from a distance. Yuo? The applicants stare in disbelief. Beside the giant sits a petite woman on a plush sofa. The contrast is startling, a bizarre image that seems completely out of place in the middle of a forest. So, you hungry? Hungry? I'm famished, the giant says, his stomach giving a thunderous rumble. He is Buhara, and his appetite is legendary. He looks like a man who hasn't eaten in weeks. Hungry? I'm famished, he repeats, his eyes glowing with a desperate, food-focused light. He's not interested in their skills or their background. He just wants to know what's for dinner. Okay, applicants, listen up. The second phase is cooking. Menchi, the woman on the sofa, announces. The tension in the air snaps, replaced by a wave of pure, unadulterated confusion. Noka! Noking! The crowd roars in unison. They were expecting a battle, a survival test, something lethal and dangerous. Instead, they're being told to put on an apron and head to the kitchen. Cooking, Gon, Killua, and Leorio exchange a look of total disbelief. This is not what they signed up for, but in the hunter exam, the unexpected is the only thing you can truly count on. Menchi smirks, her eyes dancing with amusement. She is a gourmet hunter, and to her, cooking is the ultimate test of character and skill. The applicants are about to find out how serious she is. First, you'll make a dish for me, Bahara says, his voice a low, steady rumble of hunger. He's the first gatekeeper, the initial hurdle they have to clear in this culinary obstacle course. And if Bahara passes your effort, you'll be permitted to make one for me, Menchi adds, her tone sharp and demanding. She is the ultimate judge, the one they truly have to impress. You'll pass the second phase when you satisfy both of us. Once we've eaten our fill, the testing period will be over. Menchi finishes. The rules are simple, but the challenge is daunting. That guy could probably scarf entire buffets, but I bet she's a nibbler. An applicant whispers, looking at Menchi. They are already trying to strategize to find a way to win her favor. That'll pare down the field. But cooking? The man continues. He's still struggling with the concept. He's a fighter, not a chef, and he feels completely out of his element. Geez, I've never cooked in my life. This certainly is unexpected, Lario groans, his face a mask of frustration. He's gone from biting monsters to potentially burning a souffle. What'll we have to make? Someone shouts from the crowd. They are desperate for information, for any hint of what they are supposed to be doing. The suspense is building again. My dish of choice. Buhara begins, his voice full of anticipation. He's about to reveal the theme of the test, the first ingredient in their quest to become hunters. His whole roast pig, MMM. Can't wait. Buhara announces, his mouth practically watering. He's a simple man with a simple request. He just wants a lot of delicious roasted meat. DRO on. The applicants stare in shock. Whole roast pig in the middle of a forest? It's a challenge of both culinary skill and hunting prowess, and it's going to be messy. Any pig in the Visca Forest Preserve will do. Ready? Menchie asks, her voice full of a hidden, playful challenge. She knows something they don't, and she's enjoying the mystery. Let the Siken Fizi begin. Part 1 of the second phase, Buhara's dish. Number of participants, 148. The starting gun has been fired, and the race for the pigs is on. Ha! This shouldn't be too tough for the likes of us. Catch and roast a pig? Seems simple. But we better hurry, Lario shouts, sprinting into the forest with his companions. He's surprisingly optimistic. Heh. Anyway, Killua begins, but he's cut off by the sudden rustle of the bushes. The simple task is about to get a lot more complicated than any of them anticipated. Any pig will do. That was mean, Menchie says to herself, a small, knowing smile on her lips. She knows that the pigs in this forest are not your average farm animals. Here in Visca Forest there is only one kind of pig, she adds. The applicants are about to encounter the Great Stamp, and they are not going to be happy about it. Pig, my wife was pig, an applicant shouts, his words making no sense as he's suddenly chased by a massive tusk beast. The hunting part of the test has begun, and it's dangerous. Pig, another cry echoes through the trees. The forest is full of the creatures, and they are not going down without a fight. They are fast, aggressive, and very, very large. Gon and his friends find themselves face to face with a herd of the massive beasts. They look like prehistoric rhinos more than pigs, their tusks sharp and their eyes glowing with a feral light. Caw! I have. Gon begins, his eyes wide. He's never seen anything like these pigs. They are monsters in their own right, and they are currently charging right toward them. Ha! The Great Stamp is upon them. The simple task of catching a pig has turned into a high-stakes battle for survival. The second phase is off to a roaring, tusk-filled start. Glur! A massive pig stares down the applicants, its tusks lowered and its eyes fixed on its prey. It's a terrifying sight, a wall of muscle and anger that's about to turn them into slop. The world's most ferocious pig, the Great Stamp. Gon notes, his instincts screaming for him to move. This is no ordinary animal. It's a living tank, and it's about to run them over. The Great Stamp lives up to its name. These ferocious creatures are legendary for their explosive tempers and their devastating hard-nosed charges that can level anything in their path. They're fast, evil-tempered bulldozers with a huge, hard snout. Buhara's laughter echoes in the background. He's enjoying the spectacle, knowing exactly what his guests are up against. Yach! The Great Stamp charges, a massive, unstoppable force of nature. Applicants are sent flying as the beasts plow through their ranks with zero hesitation. It's a literal stampede of terror. This is like, Gon thinks, dodging a massive snout. He's moving with fluid, instinctive grace, his body reacting to the threat before his mind can even process it. He's in his element. A close-up of the pig's massive, hard nose. It's their primary weapon, a blunt instrument of destruction that can crush bone and shatter armor with a single well-placed blow. Watch out! The thrill. Far, I felt earlier, Gon realizes. This is the same feeling he had with Hisoka's exhilaration of being on the edge, of facing a truly formidable opponent and surviving. But it's still not like. Don continues, his thoughts racing as he dodges another charge. The pigs are dangerous, but they lack the cold, calculating malice of the magician. This is a different fight. Facing Hisoka. That was... Gorn remembers the magician's terrifying, overwhelming presence. Compared to that, even a herd of great stamps is just another challenge to be overcome. He's ready. Gon leaps into the air, his fishing rod held high. He's spotted something, a potential weakness in the beast's seemingly impenetrable defenses. He's ready to make his move and finish this hunt. A real kicker! Gon shouts, delivering a powerful kick right to the top of the pig's head. It's the soft spot he's been looking for, the one vulnerability in the creature's massive armor. Nice one, Gon. Lario cheers, watching his young friend take down one of the giants. Gon's success gives the others hope, showing them that even these monsters can be defeated. Looks like you found their soft spot. They may have developed those tough snouts to protect their delicate foreheads, Kurabika notes. He's already analyzing the strategy, ready to put it into practice himself. So, really, Gon begins, landing softly on the grass. He's found the key to the hunt, and he's ready to help his friends secure their own prizes. The culling of the pigs has begun. Buhara's stomach rumbles again, a deep, impatient sound that echoes through the clearing. He's waiting for his meal, and he's getting more excited by the second. His hunger is reaching its limit. Ugh! Bahara's eyes widen as he hears a thunderous, rhythmic sound coming from the forest. It's not the sound of a stampede. It's the sound of stampede. It's the sound of something much more delicious approaching the camp. RROMM Bully. A wave of applicants emerges from the trees, each one carrying a massive roasted pig over their shoulders. It's a parade of protein, a triumphant march toward the finish line. Here, whole roast pigs, the survivors shout, dropping their prizes in front of the giant. FSSH, rush! The clearing is suddenly full of the savory, mouth-watering scent of perfectly roasted meat. Dig in. Ooh, lovely. Was that too easy? Go ahead, tuck in. Menchi says, her voice full of a hidden, playful challenge. She knows that this was just the first part of her personal test. An exceptional batch, indeed. Satats muses from his perch in a nearby tree. He's impressed by their resilience and their ability to adapt. The second phase has only just begun.